All right, and we are live. What's up, guys? Welcome to Fed Reacts. Today we're going to be covering the CEO assassination. Got a lot to talk about, guys. Let's get into it. I'm a special agent with Homeland Security Investigations, okay, guys? HSI.
This is what Fed Reacts covers.
Defendant Jeffrey Williams and associate YSL did commit the felony. So here's what 6ix9ine actually got. Racketeer conspiracy. This attack shifted the whole U.S. government. This guy got arrested for espionage, okay? Trading secrets with the Russians. John Wayne Gacy, a.k.a. the Killer Clown, okay? One of the most prolific serial killers of all time, killed 33 people. Zodiac Killer is a pseudonym of an unidentified serial killer who operated in Northern California. All these serial killers, guys, they really get off on getting attention from the media. Many years, Jeffrey Epstein sexually exploited and abused dozens of minor girls at his home. It was OJ working together to get Nicole killed. We're gonna go over his past, the gang ties, so that this all makes sense. I'm a special agent with Homeland Security Investigations, okay, guys? HSI.
This is what Fed Reacts covers.
Defendant Jeffrey Williams and associate YSL did commit the felony. So here's what 6ix9ine actually got. Racketeer conspiracy. This attack shifted the whole U.S. government. This guy got arrested for espionage, okay? Trading secrets with the Russians. All right, we're back. What's up, guys? Welcome to the stream. Bear with me, guys. Give me ones. I think we're live on YouTube and we're okay. Are we good on Rumble, I think? Let me double check here. Give me ones if we're good on Rumble. Yep, Rumble, I think we're straight. Are we frozen? Frozen stream? Is it frozen screen right now? What the hell? All right, let me fix this. I don't know. What the hell? All right, is that better? No. Here, I know what I'm going to do. CC's not live. I'm going to fix CC right now.
Yeah, it's frozen.
Okay. Hold on.
And it's frozen on YouTube, too.
I'm going to deactivate, reactivate. All right, good. So that should be fixed. Boom. You guys should be able to see me fine now. So we shouldn't be frozen anymore on YouTube. I don't know what the fuck, man. OBS has been acting crazy lately, guys. I don't know what it is. Bear with me here. Let me... I'm going to fix this right now for you ninjas on CastleClub. Sorry for the delay. I don't know what the hell.
Hey.
Let me turn that off. Let me do it again. Bear with me, CastleClub ninjas. I got y'all niggas right now. Yeah, guys, I've been using OBS, and OBS has been acting funny. I don't know why. But I am hopefully going to make this right for you guys here in a second. So let me see here if we get this thing going. Bear with me, guys. I don't know why. What the fuck? Hold on, guys. Oh, I think... Okay, so we're back here. And now... What the fuck? Maybe... Is the start time off? Oh, that's why. Because they said... Oh, my God. Okay. So we're going to just make it 8:47. That's why. Okay. So, guys, bear with me. I think it's because we had the stream set up for another time. So that's why that happened. All right. All right, cool. We're good now. All right. My bad, guys. I think we're good on CastleClub now. We're live on CastleClub. I apologize for that. We should be good now. Boom. All right. Okay. Should be good. Let me see here. I think we should be good. I don't know why We're live on Rumble. We're live on all the platforms. All right, cool. We're good. All right. Oh, man. Bro, it is not easy doing all this by myself behind the scenes. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, man. It is not easy at all. But we are live on all the platforms. We're live on X. We're live on X. We're live on Rumble. We're live on YouTube. We're live everywhere. It's not easy doing all this by myself. So we are good. Now I'm gonna double check in. All right. Sorry for the delay, guys. All right, Angie, you want to say what's up to the people?
Yeah. What's up, people? How are you? I hope you all follow me on Twitter. I've been posting interesting stuff there lately. So, yeah, follow me on Twitter. I saw Angelica with 2 A's at the end and 2. And number 2. Yeah, that's about it.
That's it. You don't have anything else to say?
Also, follow Leah and Frank on Instagram. It's
There you
Leah
go.
and Frank, A-N-D, Frank.
Yeah. I'll share it on. Let me find it.
It's actually a very interesting Instagram about our dogs. They have a great life. So you can be more envious about it. Just follow us there. And me on Twitter, Myron on Twitter. He has a new Twitter.
This is the dog one right here, guys. Hold on, let me
Yeah,
screen
it's Leah
share.
and Frank.
This is it right here. This is the Instagram. So if you guys want to see what's going on with
more
Frank,
active there. On Leah and Frank. Well, they'll be more active actually. It's a very fun Instagram. It used to be Leah's only, but since we got Frank, it's now Frank and Leah, or Leah and Frank. Oh shit, that's my dad there. But yeah, follow me there. We're gonna be in Vegas next week.
Tuesday, starting Tuesday. Mm-hmm.
This week. We're gonna do some podcasts there, some stuff, some interviews.
A lot of interviews, guys.
Yeah, it's gonna be a bunch of days there. So let us know if it's cold. If it's not, we're packing for the cold weather. Winter is here. But yeah, guys. Thank you for all your support, for the supporters and the haters too, because you guys.
We got a lot of them. Those.
We got a lot of haters, yeah. But those are the ones that are making us monetize. So, yeah, thank you guys for following us and for all the support and all the support that you actually give us.
I think there's some of them right now in the X chat, which is always comical.
Yeah, they're always hating, but that's engagement though.
Yeah.
That's engagement. So bring it up. Bring it up. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. We're here for you guys. Yeah, that's about it.
All right. So, okay, guys. So today we're going to be covering the CEO assassination. Wild stuff, guys. Absolutely wild stuff. Hold on. Let me put this. What, will this not go here? Okay. Whatever. OBS being OBS. All right. So yeah, it's always interesting. So here we go. Brian Thompson, CEO of UnitedHealthcare, was shot and killed outside an entrance to the New York Hilton Midtown in Manhattan, New York City. On December 4th, 2024, he was in the city to attend an annual investors meeting for UnitedHealth Group, the parent company of UnitedHealthcare, whose headquarters are in the suburbs of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Authorities believe the attack was not random and are investigating it as an assassination. Guys, give me ones in the chat, by the way, if you guys can hear me nice and clear. Give me ones. I adjusted my microphone. Shout out to Mo helping me out with that, where the mic can be a bit further from me and I can still speak to you guys. So give me ones if the audio is still good. I know you guys are able to hear Angie fine.
Yeah.
Give me ones. All right, cool. All right, no worries. All right. Yeah, and I love how, you know, it's interesting. Some of you guys are saying, oh, Myron, you're going soft, blah, blah. Which one is it? Am I gay? Am I going soft? Do I not like girls? Which one is it, guys? Like, pick one.
Yeah, pick your battle.
Yeah, man. All right, so anyway, authorities believe the attack was not random and are investigated as an assassination. The shooting occurred early in the morning and suspect described as a white man fled the scene. As of December 8th, the assailant has not been apprehended. Thomas has been shot. Thomas had been CEO since April 2021. His family reported that he had received threats in the past. Now, look, guys, let's talk about the insurance world real fast. So in America, in the United States, we don't have universal health care. And since we don't have universal health care, the healthcare in the United States a lot of times is contingent upon relying on insurance companies to fulfill medical bills and obligations. So in the United States, what ends up happening is you pay for insurance, you pay your monthly, and when you go see a doctor, right, it's covered partially by insurance. Most of the time, it's the majority, depending on your insurance, how good they are. But the insurance companies, right, they're not in the business to actually help people. They're in the business to be profitable. That's what it is. It's making them money. And a lot of the times, what they do is they don't necessarily, how do I say this, adhere to the claims. What do I mean by this? They try to get around paying you out. Let's say you have a surgery. Let's say you had a pre-existing condition, and then they find this out. They'll say, oh, well, you know, we did an investigation. We found out that you don't really qualify because you had a pre-existing condition, or this procedure that you're doing isn't covered by insurance, right? So what ends up happening a lot of the times is people don't get coverage, people aren't able to get procedures done, and they get sick, they die. A lot of terrible things happen, right? And whether you're a left-wing individual or a right-wing individual, this isn't really political. This is just a problem in general in America. It's a very big problem we have. I would say it's one of the biggest issues we have is healthcare in this country. You know, sometimes people will try to politicize and say that it's a left-wing or right-wing issue. No, this is a fucking problem no matter what wing you subscribe to. So, with that said, obviously, people that run these companies aren't going to be the most liked people because they are responsible for facilitating the insurance business, which is a dirty fucking business. I've said this before, I'll say it again. I said this on the X Space, but insurance companies are in the business of not necessarily delivering said service. It's the only business in America that I could think of where they do everything in their power to not render the service that they're paid for, right? And as a matter of fact, when it's time for them to render the service that they're paid for, they do everything in their power to not render you that service to save themselves money. This is why they employ investigators. This is why they employ fraud departments. That's why they employ actuaries. They have entire departments dedicated to not getting you paid for your ailments. So now that we've kind of set the stage, because I know we have a lot of international viewers that watch us, right, that are seeing this from afar, where you might have universal healthcare or you have some type of system where, you know, healthcare isn't really a question like this. In America, we don't have that, guys. America is extremely reliant upon insurance companies, and insurance companies kind of dictate whether you're going to get the healthcare or not. All right? Give me ones in the chat if that makes sense. Explaining the insurance industry in general, because I think that's very important to kind of set the stage as to going into this this topic. Also, follow me on X, guys. Myron Gaines X. You guys can see it right there on X and on Instagram. I do a bunch of base tweets on there. I'm a lot more political on X for obvious reasons. So check me out over there. Okay, that makes sense? Awesome. I'm glad. Because we got a lot of international viewers, guys. I know some of y'all are like, Myron, well, this is basic shit. I know it's basic shit for us as Americans, but we have a lot of international guys that don't understand how insurance and healthcare works in the United States. Myron Jr. is back, says, Myron, could you debate young Don? He's actually the only FBA who can actually debate without being immature, and he said he respects you still. Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm going to do a debate with Dean Withers whenever he's ready to not be a coward.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Fucking soy boy wants to... Oh, you guys want me to talk about Assad? You know, I was debating whether I was going to talk about that tonight or tomorrow. Yeah. Oh, man. Not good for the United States that Assad got toppled, by the way. Not good at all. Okay, on CastleClub, we got Michako Boss says, W. Myron, thank you. HK says, thank you, sir, for the entertainment value every day. Got you. Where's the CC Discord link? Myron Nis. And then W. Myron from Adam Russell. Noble can help you guys with that, with the stuff. Yes, guys, I'm live everywhere. I'm live on Rumble, I'm live on YouTube, and live on X. You can watch me any of those three places. I got my live feature back on X, which is always nice. Okay. So let's get into, we're going to react to some videos here. I'm going to give you guys my professional take on a lot of this stuff. But that's what went down, basically, right? So this guy assassinates him. This is a CCTV footage right here from the hit. He shoots him, I think, 2 or 3 times. But the first video we're going to react to is, let's go ahead and react to...
He was not Jewish. For the one who asked he was Jewish, he was
not. Oh, no, he's not. He's not. Yeah, no, he was not.
Brian Thompson.
Brian Thompson, yeah.
He was from Iowa.
Minnesota, I think.
Oh, it says here that
this
he's
him right
from
here.
Iowa.
Oh, he was born in Iowa,
Yeah.
but he's from Minnesota. Okay, Brian Thompson, he was an American businessman who served as the chief executive officer, CEO of UnitedHealthcare, the insurance arm of UnitedHealth Group, from April 2021 until his killing in December 2024. Thompson was born in Ames, Iowa, and received a Bachelor of Business Administration with a major in accounting at the University of Iowa in 1997. So let's go, and we got a couple videos that are going to react to, but we're going to go ahead and start first with the sidebar with law and crime. I'll be pausing it to give you guys my commentary because I got a lot to say on this case. I talked a lot about it on a Twitter space earlier, but I figured, you know what? We need to do this on Fed Reacts.
Yeah.
And also, guys,
as police try to track down
if you guys got questions, super chat them in. If you guys are watching on YouTube, fnfsuperchat.com. I'll put the link right here for you guys. If you guys are watching on Rumble Rent It In, or on CastleClub, send in a donation through CastleClub. Let me put the link real quick for you guys, because I know some of y'all are probably going to have a bunch of questions on this. There it is right there, guys. fnfsuperchat.com. It's right above the Fed Reacts. Just donate on there, and we can get you involved in the stream. Would love to talk to you guys, answer your guys' questions. Because definitely this one is a very, very interesting one.
A man who callously gunned down the CEO of UnitedHealthcare outside of a very popular hotel in the heart of Midtown Manhattan. But as more information and surveillance photos get released, it is only adding to the strangeness of this case. We're going to dig into some of the most bizarre details with a retired NYPD detective. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. Jesse Weber.
Can you increase the volume?
Search for the gunman who targeted the CEO of one of the largest healthcare insurers in the United States continued in New York City today, and now the investigation is stretching to more parts of the country. By now, you likely know what happened on Wednesday morning outside of the Hilton Hotel in Midtown Manhattan. At around 6:45 a.m., UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson was walking towards the Hilton from his hotel across the street, arriving early for an investors conference that day. He had come in for the conference from Minnesota, where the healthcare insurer is based. And then surveillance video shows a man in a dark hooded jacket and face mask step out from behind a car and open fire on Thompson, shooting him multiple times. NYPD investigators say the video appears to show the shooter clearing what appears to be a jam from the firearm, but continues to shoot.
And we're going to talk about that. Colion Noir did a video on this with the gun. And we'll watch that too.
Shoot before making his way, or his escape, I should say, down an alleyway. And at some point, the suspect gets on an e-bike and he goes into Central Park. And Thompson was rushed to a hospital.
Well, that's crazy. So a lot of questions that I get is, yo, was this guy a professional, etc. This guy made a lot of fucking mistakes, which we're going to go into here, guys. But getting one of those bikes was definitely one of them.
He died.
Which
And
these
as
bikes
of
are
this
tracked.
recording on
For those of you that are unaware, right? So hubway bikes, these bikes that you can rent. So this started becoming a thing back in I remember 2012, right? I was living in Boston. I remember they had these hubway bikes where you can rent them, you swipe your card or whatever, and you're able to rent these bikes. And these are all over the place in metropolitan cities. And for a lot of you guys that live in the middle of nowhere, you might not be familiar with it. But basically, you go out to these things. They have GPS tracking on them. They can find them wherever they need to be in case they're stolen. They have the same thing with the scooters. You basically swipe your card and you're able to use it. So that was a big mistake by this guy.
Friday afternoon, the shooter has not been identified publicly or taken into custody.
But they know who he is, right? And I predicted this. When this originally all popped off, I was like, yo, they're going to have this guy fucking identified within 24 to 48 hours. And as I expected, they had him identified immediately. The FBI is involved in this investigation, which I called. The ATF, I guarantee, is also involved in this investigation, which I called. And the reason why is because the silencer was used in this firearm. Anytime a firearm is used in an investigation, especially something like this, the ATF is more than likely going to be involved. What is the ATF? The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. Their mandate is to investigate crimes that utilize firearms and or explosives. They are the lead agency when it comes to firearms offenses, and they have the ability to look up when a gun is purchased through something called E-Trace. Okay, so anytime a gun is purchased in the United States, there has to be a form filled out. I think it's the 4473 form, ATF, and that form, which is a form actually that got Hunter Biden in trouble and Kodak Black, where they lied on it. Hunter Biden saying that he wasn't a drug user and Kodak Black saying that he wasn't under indictment. What ends up happening with these forms is it shows where the gun was originally purchased. They run the serial number and they figure it out. So the ATF has the capability of doing that, right? Normally it takes a week, but in a case like this high profile, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't already, if they don't have the weapon yet, but they're going to try to find it. But when they do, and they run that serial number, they're able to figure this stuff out. So ATF is definitely involved. FBI is going to be involved because the individual assassinated the guy. So, and let's go ahead and real quick and explain murder. I've explained this before, but I think we got a lot of new viewers here, especially on X, that might not understand this. So let me kind of explain this real fast. So, murder, guys, is almost always a state-exclusive crime, okay? In the United States, we have both federal violations and state violations. Murder almost always falls under the state's jurisdiction, all right? Premeditated murder, manslaughter, etc., right? So the feds come in and take murder when there is a trigger of something that creates a federal nexus. What do I mean by this? I mean that when there is something that occurs that affects interstate commerce, that affects interstate travel, that maybe utilizes a firearm, maybe it was in the commission of a federal crime. So I'll give you an example. I'll give you guys a couple of examples, right? So Little Dirk right now, as you guys know, he's going through, and I broke down his case as well, he's going through a murder for hire investigation that's being led by the feds, the FBI, namely out of Los Angeles. Why are the feds taking on a murder for hire case? Well, because to commit the murder for hire, he facilitated the travel, interstate transportation, of individuals and conspired with them utilizing phones, credit cards, etc., hotels, all this other stuff, and that affects interstate commerce for the purposes of murdering someone. Boom, now it's federal, murder for hire, right? Another example, let's say me and Angie rob a bank, right, with Mo and Chris. Mo's the getaway driver, Chris is one of the robbers, I'm one of the robbers, Angie one of the robbers, right? We go into the fucking thing and we say, hey, give us your fucking money. Next thing I know, I hear Angie fucking accidentally shoots someone.
Of course it's me.
And kills them, yeah, the female. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then Chris starts stuttering. He gets nervous. And he goes crazy. And he shoots, right? And he fucking kills somebody. We run out of there, terrified, with some of the bags of money. Mo's in the car. And we jump in and we fucking drive off, right? And Fresh is back at the house. And he's helping us count the money, right? We eventually all get arrested. Guess what's gonna happen? All of us are gonna get hit with murder, right?
RICO, right?
And probably a RICO. Because we're an organized criminal faction. A murder was committed during a federal crime. A bank robbery, guys, is a federal crime, investigated exclusively by the FBI typically, because banks are FDIC insured. So we committed a federal crime by committing bank robbery, and then during the course of the federal crime, we killed someone, right? Then the last example I give you guys, as we touched on it briefly, is RICO. So the mafia, when they were committing their crimes, right? When they're extorting motherfuckers, loan sharking them, gambling rings, etc., sometimes they would commit acts of violence and or murder to ensure power, intimidate witnesses, intimidate opposition, etc. So these murders that they committed were for the benefit of La Cosa Nostra, aka the enterprise, which is typically how RICO charges are charged. They charge the organization. That will be counted as a murder to be charged federally. Give me ones in the chat if that makes fucking sense. We're cooking tonight, boyos. Give me ones in the chat if that all makes sense for you. Now you guys understand the difference between murder charged in the state versus murder charged by the feds. Give me ones in the chat if that makes sense. I'm looking at all the chats. I'm looking at X, Rumble, YouTube. Sweet. CastleClub. Awesome. Okay. Right? Now a state example, guys. Ted Bundy runs around and kills a bunch of people. Premeditated murder. Right? That would be state cases most of the time. Okay? It wouldn't necessarily be a federal case. And even if he traveled interstate, right, unless he kidnapped one of the women and took her to another state, then killed her, then that would be the federal nexus. But if he's just killing a chick in the state, that would not be federal. Does that make sense, guys? So serial killer cases are almost always state cases. All right, cool.
Investigators are reporting.
And that is why the FBI is involved, because the way that he killed this guy, this might have been a conspiracy and it might have been a murder for hire. So that's why the FBI is involved. Also, obviously a crime like this is kind of crazy. And it happened in New York City. So, the feds are going to be involved. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't create a federal task force for this particular case.
Really getting very close, or getting closer, I should say. So to talk about the latest developments and these strange details that are coming out of this case, I want to bring back onto the show retired NYPD Detective Dave Sarney. Dave, so good to see you. Thanks so much for coming on to talk about this. So we talked on Wednesday after this happened. Has your analysis...
If you guys want me to bring up the speed to 1.5, let me know. If not, just put 1.25 if you like it the way it is, guys.
Has changed since then?
But what you're looking at now, everything got broken down. And I always say this, it's a multifaceted investigation. You're talking about, we're still looking for him, but we're looking about what he did beforehand. And that's giving us a lot more detail. We have items that are up for DNA analysis and for ballistics, the shell casings, the water bottle. That's being analyzed. We're waiting for the results on that. What you're seeing now is eventually an identity.
So just so you guys know, on the scene, there was a phone, a burner phone, where he made a phone call right before the murder, right? About 15 minutes prior, 10 to 15 minutes prior. Then he had a water bottle that he drank that he purchased at a Starbucks prior. And there were shell casings there that had the words denied, depose, and delay, which, are typically common of insurance industries to make some money, right? To delay the process of dispersing money or not dispersing it at all.
Identification to happen. The next part of that will be is where is he? And it looks like, we see that he might have left and came from Atlanta for his bus in November. So now you're going to probably target.
Okay, bus travel, guys. Very... this is kind of an underrated methodology as a criminal. So using buses, guys, is actually fairly good. Granted, he kind of did this in New York City, which is a very moderated place to be. But using buses is used a lot by criminals because it's a lot harder to track. You can easily get on a bus without real identification. A lot of the times they might not be as sophisticated with camera systems, etc. So traveling with a bus actually isn't that bad of an idea. And actually for drug trafficking, guys, it's a huge way to traffic drugs. I remember I had a case against the Latin Kings, and they would often smuggle cocaine from South Texas, destined for Chicago, by utilizing Greyhound buses and putting it on their person because the security is lax, identification is lax, the camera systems on these bus stations aren't that sophisticated a lot of the times. So bus travel is actually very commonly used by crooks.
I was going to say that I thought in New York, most of the buses are monitored by cameras.
Yeah, but it seems that he used like a Greyhound, which is like an interstate bus, not the city transit buses.
So it doesn't have any cameras or
Yeah,
security
well,
cameras.
they might by now. I haven't been on a Greyhound in damn near 10 years. But they're not as tracked.
Okay.
Like, you could get on with a fake ID. They're not really going to be like, oh, this doesn't look real. It's not like the same security as an airport.
Okay.
Down the southern areas of the United States. And what only that is the analysis of the video, which is taking place from point A, from the point of the shooting backwards, has made a big difference in developing more information. Because the more information you get by the video, it gets you to those locations. You can interview people. They can give you more detail as to what this shooter said prior to the shooting. And if you're lucky, we'll find out where he was after the shooting. So that's, it's going to take some time. And that's the whole thing. It's not a show that's over.
Let me ask you this. So you have this coordination between the NYPD, the Marshal Service, the FBI, who has tremendous resources to use, in particular technology.
Okay, so Marshal Service. You guys are probably wondering, Myron, why the fuck are the Marshals involved? The Marshals guys, their expertise is fugitive apprehension. So the Marshal Service has three main missions: fugitive apprehension, court security in the federal courts, and witness protection. The two biggest things that they do, though, because witness protection isn't that common, is court security and apprehension. So they are probably one of the best agencies at finding fugitives, right? Now, when I was an agent, right, I had a very good relationship with the U.S. Marshal Service, and the reason why is because I was arresting people all the time. Now, when you're doing cases and you're getting arrest warrants for people, it's not as fun as people think it is, right? So let's go through the process. I go ahead, I do my investigation, and I go ahead and I go to a judge and I get an arrest warrant, right? Now I gotta go fucking find the guy, right? You gotta do surveillance, you gotta find him. A lot of times criminals don't like to be at the same place multiple nights in a row. They're sleeping in different places, they're traveling, etc. So that could be very time consuming, guys. You can easily spend weeks finding the guy, bedding him down, watching him on surveillance, getting a pattern of life, then deciding when you're going to execute the arrest warrant, right? So what I would do was, anytime I got my arrest warrant, you guys know what I did? I would delegate that arrest warrant to the United States Marshals. And they would go find him for me, right? They'd go find him, they'd bed him down, they would do surveillance. That's what they do. They don't carry cases, they don't do investigations. They just go find the fucking guy, right? Once they find him, they call me, hey, Agent Fuddle, we got your guy. I wouldn't say that because he's my buddy. His name was Tom. Was it Tom? Tomas? Either way, he would hit me up. Hey, bro, we found your guy. He's here. All right, cool. We're going to go do a roundup on Wednesday, 6 a.m. We're going to pick up 10 other guys for other agencies. You want to roll with us? Sure. I call my supervisor. Hey, Wednesday morning, I'm going to be out with the Marshals. Cool. I'm going to go pick up my guy with them. All right, awesome. Just give me a copy of the ops plan. Sweet. Right? Because I've explained what operations plans are before in the past. If you guys want me to go through it again, I can. But anyway, I don't want to get too much in the weeds here. So I go out there. We get to, but my guy might be third or fourth on the list, right? They go get their other guys. Now it's time to go get my guy. I'm sitting in the fucking car. They go, they hit the fucking door. They get him, right? Or sometimes I'd go in with them, depending on how I felt that day. We go, we get him. They bring him out. Hey, you wanna talk to him, blah, blah, blah. Because obviously the best time to interview the guy's right after he's arrested, right? So I let the Marshals be the bad guys. They go in, they fuck him up, they get him out. He's all roughed up and shit. And then I'm like, hey, man, look, you want to talk to me, bro? Like, look, I know these guys are being assholes to you or whatever, but I'm the good guy because I didn't do nothing to him, right? But he doesn't know that I'm the case agent. I'm the one that got the arrest warrant for him. And then he'll be like, sometimes he'll be like, oh, fuck you, I don't want to talk. Or sometimes like, yeah, we'll see. And then what I'll do is we'll take him back to the where the Marshals, because the Marshals process all the prisoners too, guys, FYI. That's why I will do this as well. Because now I don't got to worry about bringing him to the jail. I don't got to worry about processing him. I don't got to worry about shit. Okay? So I get him. I tell my guy from the Marshal Service, because you always want to interview him, with another agent. I'm like, hey, dude, I need to interview this guy. Can you come with me as a witness? Sure, no problem. I bring him in. I read him his rights, etc. I start asking him questions. Boom, boom, boom. And then after that's done, the Marshals take him. I don't got to worry about shit. I go home. Now, this is huge because I didn't have to bet him down. I didn't have to find him. I didn't have to do hours of surveillance. I didn't have to fucking get his family members and figure out where he's at. I didn't have to go into the house to get him. I didn't have to transport him. And most importantly, I don't have to process him or put him in the jail. They do all of that shit. So that is why the Marshals are involved in this case. Give me ones in the chat if that makes sense for y'all ninjas. I know I'm going in the weeds here, and I'm really explaining things for you guys, but like I said before, I told you guys, nobody is better than me on the fucking internet about this shit because I really did this shit. I can explain every agency to a fucking T. Because I've worked with them, I know what their strengths are, their weaknesses are, etc. That is why the U.S. Marshals Service is involved in this investigation. They also have really good technology for betting guys down. Sweet? Makes sense? Perfect. If you're going to put a 2 in the chat, tell me 2 and then why, guys. I'm here to educate. If you're going to put a 2, put 2 and then say why. That's not how Walker, Texas Ranger used to do it? Come on, nigga. Dude, TV show, bro. Come on, man. So, yeah. Okay. Let's keep going.
Technological resources. We'll get into this. How quickly could they get results?
Someone said in the chat, too, I'm black.
Back, let's say, on DNA testing. And B, will we, the public, know if there is a manhunt? Shouldn't we know as soon as they identify who that DNA belongs to and match it to, let's say it's the suspect or the person of interest identified?
Okay, this is a good question. So he's going to ask him, shouldn't they put the name out there once they have him identified?
Photos, if they can say, we match the DNA, that's the person. Should the public know immediately?
When it comes to these type of cases, you want to keep some of the information close to the chest. And I think with this, you want to see if you can apprehend once a person is identified, you want to see if you can apprehend the individual as fast as possible without notifying. Once you lose sight of that chance of getting him immediately, then maybe you could to release that information about the identification.
Okay, he's spot on about this. So, look, the last thing you want to do is depend on the public. Why? Because the public is going to give you information a lot of times that isn't accurate. They're going to mislead you. You're going to have clout chasers. You're going to have weirdos. The Zodiac Killer, to give you guys an example. When they put it out, hey, we need help, etc., wanted, like 70,000 people came forward and said, I'm the Zodiac.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So you want to really avoid involving the public if you don't need to, right? When you do involve the public, that typically means that law enforcement has kind of hit a sticking point and they can't identify the individual anymore. In this case, they know who the guy is. I called this days ago that they knew we're going to find out who this motherfucker was in a few days, right? they know who he is. And at this point, releasing who he is going to allow him to know that they know who he is. And he might scare him off, right? Or it might tip their hand. So they're not going to notify the public who he is because they know who he is. And they probably more than likely know where he is. So they know who he is and they probably know where he is. AKA the U.S. Marshal Service, right? Really good at locating people. They have technology to do that, right? Some of it is actually sensitive that I can't even tell you guys on air. But what I will say is they're good at finding people. That's what they do. So the fact that they're not releasing this tells me not only do they know who he is, they probably know where he's at as well. Now, an example of when law enforcement will ask the public for help. Let's go back in time. Back in 2013, if you guys remember, Boston Marathon, a bomb went off. A couple of bombs went off at the finish line on Boylston Street right there. And I know this because I was in college at the time myself. I was attending Northeastern University. And I was actually writing my thesis paper to get my bachelor's degree, right, for my graduate degree. My undergrad degree. So, for those that don't remember, the way they did that case was the bombs went off and nobody knew who the fuck did it because obviously it was a crowded area. Nobody knew. And the cops were clueless. So the FBI cordoned off all of Boylston Street and were going through. They figured out that it was pressure cookers. They figured out it was a terrorism attack, etc. So what they ended up doing was they pulled all the CCTV footage for all the stores in that area on Boylston Street, right? Which is where, was it, yeah, it's on Boylston, yeah. The Boston Marathon finishes on Boylston.
You covered that.
Right in front of Marathon Sports, yes. And I covered this case in detail, by the way, on Fed Reacts. If you guys want to go ahead and watch it. I did a 4-hour fucking stream on this, broke it down in crazy detail. It was one of my favorite streams because I was there when it happened. When the bombs went off, guys, I was literally writing my fucking paper a couple of blocks away. And funny enough, the paper was on the Department of Homeland Security and how we had not had a successful terrorist attack. I kid you guys not. Little side tangent here. My thesis paper, I had talked about how the Department of Homeland Security had done a good job of preventing terrorism, which it was created in 2003. And my argument was there had not been a successful terrorist attack on American soil since 9/11. I kid you guys not. I had just finished writing that paragraph. And I get a fucking phone call from my supervisor. He's like, hey, Myron, where you at? And I'm like, I'm writing my paper. Because I had I had my phone off, guys. I had my phone off. I had my blinds closed. I was like really cramming to write this paper because I had been procrastinating. I had to get it in within a couple of hours. So I turned my phone on, right? And I saw a bunch of missed calls from my supervisor. So I call him back and I'm like, hey, what's up, Jason? What's going on? Hey, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh shit, was I supposed to be in the office today? Right? Because I was an intern at the time. And he's like, no, are you okay? I was like, I'm fine. It was like, a bomb went off at the finish line of Boylston. I was like, what? Like, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you don't hear, like, I was like, what? He's like, yeah, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. He was like, yeah, 2 bombs went off. We're rolling out there. I know you're writing your paper. Come to the office tomorrow. And I was like, oh, shit. So I turned on the news, and it's fucking pandemonium, right? Pandemonium. The city got locked down, everything, right? But the thing that was crazy was I had written that fucking thing in my paper. I had to change that shit. I had to literally change that shit.
Retype it.
Bro, I had to retype the fucking thing. I was mad. I was like, God damn. So yeah, bro. Like, I was pissed because I had like listed like a bunch of cases that they had stopped the terrorists before the attack happened, right? And then that shit happened. I was like, God damn, bro. I was tight, man. But yeah. But going back to what I was saying, oh yeah, sorry. Besides that story of my L. So when that bombing happened, guys, right? Going to the identification thing with suspects. When that bombing originally happened, guys, what ended up going down was that no one knew who these guys were. All they knew was they had some guys with suspicious backpacks walking around. So what the FBI did was, and I'll never forget this shit, they released the guys. Matter of fact, let's go through
your old video?
No, not that one. this press release. I'll give you guys an example of when the police need help and they do a press release. Boom. I'll never forget this day right here. I was in the office watching this shit, right? And this is an example, guys. So obviously NYPD and FBI is not doing this with this guy because they already know who he is. But when the police do need help and they don't know who the individuals are, they hold a press conference like this. And here's an example.
Today we are enlisting the public's help to identify.
Okay, this is Rich Dolores. I've met this guy before. He's the special agent in charge of the FBI field office at the time. And then this guy right here, this is Bruce Folkart. He was the special agent in charge of HSI Boston field office at the time. This is the top guy. This is for Massachusetts State Police right here. I think this is the U.S. Attorney. And then I don't know who this guy is. But yeah, all hands were on deck when this shit happened, guys. Y'all against some insider shit, man. Like the goddamn video. Who the fuck else can give you guys this level of detail when it comes to law enforcement background? I am the top fucking guy when it comes to this shit. Ain't nobody on YouTube got more experience than me when it comes to this shit, because I actually did this stuff. I was in Boston and was involved in this case when this shit happened.
The two suspects. After a very detailed analysis of photo, video, and other evidence.
So fun fact, y'all want to know who found this surveillance footage? It was HSI. It was HSI, my old agency, our child pornography group. One of the agents there, I won't say his name, but I know who it is. He was the one that went through the CCTV footage and found these motherfuckers. Because all hands were on deck, and like the thing is that he was a certified forensic agent, so he went into the computers, and he analyzed all the footage, and he was one of the guys that found these guys that said, "Yo, who are these fucking guys in the backpacks?"
And was it the press conference that the public got to see these pictures for the first time?
Yes, this is
They
when
didn't get leaked from the internet.
it never got leaked. No,
Oh,
these
nice.
were the first time that this was the first time that the FBI revealed these photos.
Okay.
Of these guys, because at this point they knew who they were, but they didn't know who they were. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
They knew who the individuals were, but they didn't have it identified. So they were hoping that someone can help identify them.
Of course.
So that's why they released it. And this is an example of when the feds are gonna, or the feds or the police are gonna release the information of a suspect. So I'm giving you guys kind of the contrast between CEO assassin, they know who it is, versus when they don't know who it is.
We are releasing photos of these two suspects. They are identified as suspects.
When I say a CP group, guys, they investigated child pornography and they would arrest those guys in that group. So don't worry, guys, we're fine. I know some of y'all are worried, like, oh shit. But yeah, like the video, guys, on YouTube, please. Helps with the algorithm. And share it, man. Share this thing if you guys are enjoying this. But yes, it was HSI that was critical to identifying these guys going through the CCTV footage. Because when this went down, right? Just a quick little thing here. The FBI had a huge command post in the office, right? And every single agency was working on this shit. DEA was there. They don't even have fucking terrorism authority. Fucking postal inspectors. Everyone was helping out. So HSI was a critical component to assisting with this. And our child exploitation group, we call them a child porn group, CP group, whatever, they were really helpful in helping go through the footage and find these guys. Because we're talking about hours upon hours of footage, because they were scanning through footage from all the different businesses on Boylston Street. For some of you guys that aren't aware of Boylston Street, we're talking about, look, just so you guys get an idea here. Boylston.
How far were you from this street?
It's like not even a mile.
Really?
Not even a mile, right down the street. Boylston Street, Boston. Just to show you guys like what I'm talking about here.
You couldn't hear anything?
Huh?
Then you couldn't hear anything?
No, I didn't hear it, but is this it? What the fuck? No, how do I drop the little man here? Okay, so wait, where the fuck are we? Bro, Brookline? Nah, man, I'm not trying to be in Brookline. Oh, it's because it goes so goddamn long. Okay. All right. This is crazy that I even... Okay, this is North Boston. Tremont. Okay. That's the Port, Brick Bay, Bay Village. No. Oh, yeah. Museum of Fine Arts. Yep. Huntington Ave. This is where I went to school. All right. Northeastern is right here, all right? So Northeastern's here. Mass Ave. All right, let's go ahead and drop the man right here. Here we go. Okay. Bro. All right, we'll go this way then. Why can't I go, man?
It's probably blocked.
Bro. This shit's pissing me off. Okay. Where is...
You have to drop it specifically on the street.
Okay, he's the Prue. Okay, here we go, Boylston Street. All right. Man, W to me for even finding this shit off the dome. Right here. All right, boom. All right, perfect. Okay. So, the bomb went off, guys, right... Okay, so here's the fire station. All right, so you come down here. Oh, I used to go to this Trader Joe's. Oh, what the? Bruh. Nigga. I used to go to this bar. It used to be called Lear's. Now it's called... Bro! All right. We're on YouTube, so I'm not going to go much further than that. Look at that. What the fuck, man?
It's a queer bar?
Yeah, what the fuck? It used to be called Lear. So all the bad chicks used to be there, man.
They turned to queer.
God damn, man. Things have changed. Holy. Okay. So the finish line...
Is that where you got arrested?
I never got arrested. What do you mean?
Where you got, like, kicked out?
No. What do you... When I got...
Where you got, like, a fight? Like
No. Oh, you're talking about the time I got jumped.
Yeah.
No, that's not it. That's not it. Symphony 8 is what you're talking... I can show you there. Okay, so one of the bombs went off around this area here. And then the other one, I think, went off down by Marathon Sports. Did they get rid of the thing? They used to keep the finish line here. Did they fucking... What the hell? Or is it further down? Oh, yeah. Okay, here we go. Boom. So here's the finish line. They kept it, right? So the other bomb went off in this area here. Here's Marathon Sports, right? So as y'all can see, the main point I'm trying to get at here is look at all these goddamn stores, right? All these different businesses here. They had to scan through hours of footage from all these areas, this highly congested metropolitan downtown area of all these stores.
People working there, right?
And then all these people that work. And then this, guys, when the marathon happened, like this thing literally, when the marathon was going on, this thing is packed with people. Packed. Packed.
Of course.
So yeah, and then this is the Prudential Center. This is the exit to the Prudential Center. Yeah, bring back a lot of good memories.
How many people died?
But yeah, guys, what Angie was talking about was when I got jumped in front of Symphony Hall by 6 people. I've told that story before. What was I saying, Angie?
How many people died in this marathon?
I forget. I think it was like so many people got injured, but I think it has like between 3 to 5 deaths. 3 to 5 deaths. But anyway, that's where the bomb went off. So the reason why I show you guys this is so that you guys can see all the stores they had to get the footage from. So literally, man, it took hours and hundreds of agents to be able to do this. And then one of the guys actually got identified right here is where they found one of the bombers the first time. In front of Whiskey's. Let me find it. This is a bar I used to go to all the time too when I was a fucking... Oh, here it is. Yeah. Lear. Okay. This is the bar at Lear. What the fuck is this shit though? Whatever. I don't even know.
Let me see.
This is where I used to go. Lear.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it's still open though. I think they closed it.
So you have a queer bar.
Yeah, but this wasn't that. It was something else before.
And then you have...
Yeah, it was something else before that.
Nightclub.
But this is where they identified the guy right here. Oh my God, it changed to a bank? Wow. Okay. Times have changed. Okay, so right here, guys, this corner, this used to be a bar called Whiskey's, if I'm not mistaken.
Jesus, how do you
Whiskey's.
remember this stuff?
And this is where they caught him coming around this corner here. The Tamerlan, the other brother. Right? So, yeah. Yep. Wow. Man, this thing has changed. It's Santander Bank now. All right.
And suspect 2. Suspects 1 and 2 appear to be walking together through the marathon crowd.
That's Tamerlan. That was where they found, Tamerlan is the older brother.
On Boylston Street in the direction of the finish line. We consider them to be armed and extremely dangerous. No one should approach them. No one should attempt to apprehend them except law enforcement.
So that's when they did the press conference and they showed the bombers for the first time. So law enforcement is going to show the bombers, guys, only when they don't know who they are or they need help. But when they know who they are, they're going to keep that close to the chest. That was the whole purpose of showing you guys that.
The reason being is you don't want to, in a sense, spook him, spook people who may be helping him out in this case. So in the beginning, you'll probably keep it tight, and then you'll release it.
So I want to get into some more of these details because we now know that police believe that this suspected gunman stayed at a New York hostel at Amsterdam and 103rd, uptown from where the shooting had happened. And detectives were at that hostel on Thursday, and they were doing interviews, they were checking surveillance, and Crime Stoppers released 2 new photos of potentially the alleged gunman, maybe just a person of interest, with this person pulling down his face mask and smiling in one of the pictures. Now, a woman
Yeah, he's flirting with one of the girls, man. Dude had to spit his G game, I guess.
who was working at the desk at the hostel, reportedly told NYPD officers that she had been flirting with this man, and that is what led him to apparently lower his mask. And surveillance captured that, and police hope having shots of his face will help identify him and track his movements. So Dave, let me ask you, how important is it that we have this full face shot? And B, if this really is the suspected shooter, my gosh, if this is his undoing, flirting with the person in the hostel, I mean, my gosh, what do you make of that?
Yeah. Everyone, when the original video came out, it seemed like a very professional type of shooting, almost like a professional hit. As we have, and as the detectives in the NYPD and everyone else has viewed video and doing this, you're seeing he's not as a professional. The clothes he wears, the backpack he has is very specific. It's been, the bag was identified. We know what kind of bag it is, the price of that bag. So things have broken down. The truth's going to come out. I mean, that's what it is. The benefit of that is police always emphasize on finding the mistakes and exploiting those mistakes. And that mistake of taking that mask down is extremely important. It helps us possibly with facial recognition, utilizing that ability. And not only that, we have somebody who's seen that face. Now, if that is the shooter, someone else has had contact with him prior to the shooting. And that's what we're looking to do, is seeing if somebody will call Crime Stoppers, say, yes, I did speak to that guy, and then they'll be able to interview him and see where it goes from there.
Hey, by the way, before we go any further, I have to thank Morgan & Morgan for sponsoring today's Law and Crime YouTube Turning a Corner on that e-bike that I mentioned. Now, at first, at a news conference, police said that the suspect was wearing tan clothing.
The shooter appears to be a light-skinned male. He's wearing a light brown or cream-colored jacket, a black face mask, black and white sneakers, and a very distinctive gray backpack.
Yeah, perhaps he misspoke because if you look at the photos from the scene, it's pretty obvious that the gunman is wearing a dark-colored jacket. And the NYPD also didn't clarify what...
And I think it was on different days. But Top Shay says, Myron, did you know the reason why the American sniper Chris Kyle was killed? Because they wanted him to organize, orchestrate team prior to bombing. He rejected. He knew too much and they killed him. Not familiar, Top Shay, with that. Let's see here.
Is that the one that the movie was based on? The same guy?
Maybe.
American Sniper?
We got here... Dayco goes, narrowly dodged becoming a victim in the Boston bombing, was watching at the finish line when a teammate texted 217 to meet him at the mile 23 mark. Little action to save your life. Wow, bro, that's crazy. He was at the Boston Marathon bombing finish line, and they told him to move. His buddies told him to come meet up, and that's how he got out the way. Wow. The Boston Bombers, by the way, Myron, and that's from Black Zero, okay? I know y'all remember that retarded 304 saying, release them, they hot. MMA Clip says, Vivek has mentioned shutting down FBI dispersing the field agents with the right agencies and releasing the administrative bureaucratic niggas. Would you be interested in working with Doge to help them and their announcement of FBI and recommendations to President Trump? I mean, sure, I could, but Vivek is delusional if he thinks he's going to actually be able to disband the FBI. He'll never be able to do it. And that's the problem sometimes with these guys that, look, you need someone that has business acumen, I get it, the entrepreneurial mindset, but you also need guys that understand how the government works. And there's no way that Vivek is ever going to be able to disband the FBI. The FBI is a legacy agency. It's been around forever. It's the premier federal law enforcement agency. A lot of their authorities are critical to protecting the security of the United States, so he'll never be able to disband them. Sorry. And this is coming from a guy that doesn't even like the FBI. I don't even like the FBI. I've had a lot of issues with them in the past, but even I understand that there's no way he's going to disband it. That just sounds good to normies that don't understand how the government works. The old waterboard from BFD. Okay. Mark Q says, since you're going to Vegas, are you going to go to Las Vegas Mob Museum to finish the tour on the last floor since you didn't get to finish it last time? Shit, we didn't do it to finish it, did we? All right. Yeah, I guess we will. Can you hit up that lady?
Yeah, we haven't finished.
Yeah, can you hit up that lady? Tell her we're going to do it. Brown was getting sued for fraud. I think it was an inside job. A CEO walking without no security is weird. True. When is the next CC Premium Zoom meeting? Need your advice. Hopefully, we just had one literally today, bro. But Chuck, I literally had a CC Premium meeting just today. I just got off like at 7:30. Martin, as an ex-Fed, is it pretty impossible to commit a crime like what happened to the CEO because of all the technology we have now? I don't recommend why people do things like this because of all the technology we have. I think it's a crime like this is impossible. What do you think? Yeah, I mean, I think you can make it happen. This guy was just a rookie, bro. He made a lot of mistakes. So, yeah. Oh, wow. Do I contact Noble or will he send it to me? Contact Noble. W hit nigga Myron. Okay.
Was distinctive about.
Wow. Frank ate Angie's headphones. What do you? Let me see that.
Man, look at this.
Oh wow! Look at this. This guy ate her fucking headphones, guys. Holy.
You have to open the image.
Wow. It is open. They can see it. Look at this. This guy really ate her shit.
That's not funny. Why are you laughing?
Oh, man.
You should say something
About
too.
that backpack, but
Frank.
internet sleuths have identified it as a backpack made by the company
He knows.
Peak Design
You
that
see?
costs anywhere from $200 to $300.
Frank, go on your
They
bed.
later released photos of the suspect from
Bed.
inside a 6th Avenue Starbucks where he stopped before going to the hotel to wait. He purchases a bottle of water, he purchases some snacks, and in these photos,
My man had to get hydrated before the drill.
the suspect has his mask up over most of the lower part of his face. But this was the first time that we'd actually gotten a glimpse of what the alleged gunman looked like. Now, we are not sure if the person in the Starbucks is the same as the hostel. There are those who say, Dave, that the jackets don't match, the backpacks don't match. What do you take away from that? Is that why we're kind of getting terms like suspect, person of interest? It's not totally clear we have the same individual. Although some people would say if you look at the photo of the smiling guy versus the guy in the Starbucks, it looks like the same person.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know, video surveillance and video cameras aren't always great. You know, you have certain ones that are very, very fine. Some are very grainy. The shooting was a very grainy photo. Was a grainy video, so you're very limited in the coloring on that. And that's why you're doing this step-by-step timeline, and that's beneficial because you're talking about in the early morning hours in New York, between 6 and 7 o'clock. Is there going to be someone who fits that description?
Which, if I'm not mistaken, the Starbucks and the Hilton were not that far from each other, a few blocks.
Who comes out of the subway, goes to the Starbucks, walks over to the Hilton, waiting for that person. That minimizes the chance that this person is misidentified. But coloring, I remember the first time the description came over, the description of the perp was inaccurate. And that happens because, again, people see what they see, and it's not always clear to them, especially when it's an eyewitness. That's why we get multiple eyewitnesses. We can't always depend on one part of the puzzle. That's why the detectives are going all the way through, from beginning to end. And that's what we're looking, and that's what we always do. We want to make sure we get the right person.
Do you find it weird that if this is the suspected shooter, that he stopped at a Starbucks? Was it to fuel up? Hey, I don't know when I'm going to have my next meal. Let me eat on the go. But again, what's interesting about that is apparently, allegedly, investigators find this water bottle and a wrapper of the candy bar in this alleyway left behind for forensic testing. Maybe on his, the one assumption is he.
Yeah, that's what made me realize, like, this guy isn't a professional. The guy obviously knows how to use a firearm, which we're going to talk about that a little bit more. But phone, leaving the phone, the water bottle, absolutely.
Stupid. Dropped it on his way to go. But I find that weird to purchase those items, knowing you're going into a store where you could be seen, where you could be on the surveillance tape. Just a weird little dynamic of this.
You know, this shows the lack of professionalism by the shooter when we're talking about
Yeah, big mistakes there.
this. Who would do this? You know, it's not normal to want to conduct a shooting like you do and have and eat and have a drink. So either he's very confident in what he's doing, or he just didn't realize how sloppy that was. It adds to the investigation. That mistake is very important to this whole investigation as to what he did, because not only are shell casings left, but now you have forensic evidence that's left. So that's beneficial to the police. We look for those mistakes.
Yeah, and let me clarify a little bit about the jacket in the backpack. So the jacket in the backpack that this man is wearing at what appears to be the Starbucks seems to be the same jacket and backpack at the scene of the crime.
If anybody in the chat knows what this backpack is, it's like an expensive backpack, $200 or something like that.
But on Thursday, when
Tell you this, it ain't no fucking Jansport.
Crime Stoppers released photos of who they identified as a person of interest from inside the hostel where this person was staying, people online pointed out that the appearance is different. Because in these photos, the man appears to be wearing a green jacket. It's still a darker color, but not black or dark gray like it appeared in the security camera shots. And the jacket in the hostel photo also appears to have these prominent front pockets, while you can't really see anything like that on the darker jacket in the Starbucks shot. So it's possible to be the same person, but different jackets. Could be maybe the lighting is just not accurate, and the shots, as we were talking about, are a bit grainy. And when it comes to the backpack, the scene of this crime in the Starbucks, and in the getaway shot, the backpack has this gray or lighter colored straps, but in the hostel photos, the straps are black. And we don't know exactly when these surveillance cameras caught
Well, he might have had multiple backpacks because he did leave one of the backpacks at Central Park.
the apparent suspect, but it's just a weird aspect, though. So you could say, okay, you know, big deal, he's traveling, maybe he brought this, or maybe it's a trick of the light, but some people are skeptical that this is maybe not even the same person, that police might be barking up the wrong tree. Dave, just to put a bow on that point.
How do
That's
we know?
why detectives do it. We're not-
Go ahead.
How do we know if it's actually his backpack? Because they only found a jacket in that backpack in Central Park.
Oh, that's what they found in it?
Yeah, a jacket.
Okay, well, I think it's because of camera footage. Because they
Okay.
saw him with it riding the bike.
And they found the same.
And he had it on when he shot the guy.
So they just found the same backpack in Central Park, and they just
Well, they
assumed-
followed him after the shooting.
Okay.
After the shooting, they saw him go to Central Park.
Okay.
And then he came out without the backpack.
we're looking for the person that committed the crime, and that's the whole thing. They're building probable cause. You have a person who conducts a shooting. The lighting of the surveillance camera is grainy. So what you're doing is, and I said this earlier, there's a pre and post. The post is looking to see where they could locate him. The pre is doing victimology and where he was prior to the shooting, because we have a time established in that 6 o'clock hour. In that late 6 o'clock hour, we know there's a shooting. Now we want to see is where was he before that shooting, and the meticulous steps that investigators do, the extended video canvases that they do, the interviews of people they have been in contact with. The lighting is one thing, but the way it looks is, could it be? We're not looking for could it be, because it's like, it's not what you think, it's what you can prove. And that's what detectives are doing. They're looking to prove that the person at the shooting and the hostel are the same. Person seen is the same as the person who did the shooting.
Okay, so
Let
I'm
me ask you
reading
about
here.
the backpack.
Can you pause real quick?
Yeah.
I'm reading here that the backpack that they found at the Bethesda Fountain in Central Park, it only had like a Tommy Hilfiger jacket and Monopoly money in it. That's all they can
Tommy
find.
Hilfiger jacket, Monopoly money?
Monopoly money.
Probably
yeah.
sent a message.
It was found on Friday night. Do you think so?
Monopoly money, yeah. That probably sent a message.
That's funny.
I mean, he did leave, he wrote deny, depose, and delay in the bullets with Sharpie.
Because there's another
Oh,
interesting new
okay.
detail about the backpack. So
Yeah, he definitely wanted to send a message here.
NYPD now says that they were able to catch this person, this alleged shooter, on camera leaving Central Park, but he wasn't wearing the backpack. And there was this huge search of the park on Thursday, but so far, law enforcement haven't been able to find this bag. And in addition to figuring out who the guy is, investigators are digging into where he came from. And as I told them, before I get into that part where he came from, the bag, do you find it weird that the bag is missing?
No, because if you are carrying that bag, he could have changed clothes. There could be something in it. It's a big park. It's massive. So it could go anywhere. Did he throw it into a lake? Did he throw it into the water? Did he dump it somewhere under grass? Whatever he did. Maybe he planned this before. He was here earlier in the month. Did he already have a place he established to dump that bag? In other words, bury the bag somewhere.
And also, guys, he got into New York City on or about November 24th, if I'm not mistaken. He had been there for almost 10 days.
In an
So
area
he got there a while ago, doing recon, etc.
where no one's
He
going to be
came
able to
from
find him.
Atlanta, right?
But
He came he came on a bus that came from Atlanta. So we don't know if he came from Atlanta or he came on one of the stops
Okay.
that passed through.
From Atlanta.
Which is smart that he did that, because you can't really identify. It'll be harder for them to identify where he got on.
as they continue to do this, you can continue that grid search to see if you can find the bag. That would be great. So that's another aspect to this.
You mentioned this before, because in addition to figuring out who this guy is, they're also trying to figure out where he came from. And police told the New York Times that the suspect arrived in New York, as you mentioned, about 10 days before the shooting on November 24th. The official told the Times that he came on a bus that had originated in Atlanta, although it's on.
Hey guys, we got only 474 likes on this. Can we hit 1,000, guys? I'm giving y'all a lot of sauce right now, a lot of details. Even the best consultants on these CNN channels and Fox don't give the kind of details that I give, guys. So guys, do me a favor, please like the video on YouTube. Just open up a tab, watch it on YouTube, like the video on YouTube so we can hit the algorithm, so we can really get into this whole true crime thing. I know this is like my side channel. I do this only once a week, but yeah, we got the sauce going. So let's get to 1,000, guys, if you don't mind, please.
Unclear where along the route he actually had boarded, but he was spotted on cameras at the Port Authority bus terminal. By the way, and as we talk about this, see why it's so rare to have a shooting, like an assassination like this, in a metropolitan city like Manhattan, like New York City? My goodness, cameras are everywhere. Now, according to what police told the New York Times, the man checks into this hostel on November 24th. He checks out on the 29th. Then he checks back in the next day, and the shooting happened early in the morning on December 4th. Now, law enforcement officials also told CBS News that the man had checked into the hostel using a fake ID with a fake name. The official said police don't think he was using someone else's ID. They think it's just a made-up name. And a source told CNN that it was a New Jersey license. Dave, what do you take away from that?
IDs could be fake. You could fake an ID. So
Very common. Very, very common. I remember when I was in college, Pennsylvania was the most faked ID that everyone had to get into the bars. That's why they've changed the ID so much over the past few years, is because they're so easy to fake.
if he has a fake ID.
And hostels, a lot of the times, they're not going to be that critical of going through the ID. They don't really care. A lot of vagrants go into these hostels in New York City. So, not surprised.
This was planned. So that's the one thing. You can see the planning to it, getting here early.
And just so you guys know, using the gun, coming in 10 days prior, using a fake ID, taking a Greyhound bus, all of this is going to be used when he's arrested to charge him with murder 1, premeditated murder. Okay? All of this stuff is very important to establish state of mind and that this was preconceived, right? So on the state side, we're looking at murder 1 for sure.
Checking in with a fake ID. There's a lot of planning into it. But if you're here for an extended period of time and you have money, how much cash could you live off of in New York City within that extended time frame? Apparently he paid.
Guys, the name of the YouTube channel is called Fed Reacts. For some of you guys that are watching on X, and if you might want to watch it on YouTube, like the Fed Reacts on YouTube, Fed Reacts on Rumble. Like the video on YouTube, guys. I really appreciate it if you can. And let's get this thing up.
Starbucks with cash. Cash runs out. Was there cash in the bag? We don't really know. We know he's probably fled New York. That's one thing we do. But eventually something is going to happen where a credit card has to be used.
He definitely fled New York, and he used cash.
You can't have enough cash unless, let's say, there's someone assisting. There's someone who's with him on this, who's helping him out. Given the fact that there was a phone call made by the shooter prior to the shooting. So is there someone else involved? Because if you have cash, you're going to run out of cash. And you have a credit card.
That's very important. The fact that a phone call was made 10 minutes prior to the shooting and it was done on a burner phone, let me tell y'all this. That person, whoever they were called, was more than likely involved in this situation and is involved in the conspiracy. So now, putting my agent hat on, if I had that phone, first thing I would do, it's probably a burner piece of crap. I would obviously figure out when it was purchased, how it was purchased, and most importantly, I would figure out, I'll look at that phone and I'll do toll records, right? So that phone, it's going to be, a lot of times it's Cricket, T-Mobile, AT&T, Verizon, whoever the phone servicer is for that phone, I'm going to figure out who it is. Then I'm going to serve that person with a subpoena. Once I serve that subpoena, they're going to give me all the toll records. I'm going to look at every single phone number that contacted this phone. Once I have all those phone numbers, I'm going to send subpoenas for those phone numbers and figure out who the subscribers are on those phones. And then I will be able to identify everyone that he spoke to, if they're using fake names, if they're using, aliases, that's fine. We could figure out where those phone calls were made from, and I would go ahead and do something called a cell site warrant, okay? Now, give me ones if you guys want me to explain this and go into this detail. Give me twos if you guys want me to just keep going on, because I don't want to, I've noticed that I've been going into kind of tangents here and giving you guys a lot of detail on certain things, but you guys might not necessarily need all this detail, right? So give me ones if you guys want me to explain this cell site crap. If not, twos, and we'll keep cooking here. We'll keep on the breakdown. Right. Ones if you guys want me to explain the cell site. Two if you guys want me to just keep going. Damn, y'all niggas are nerds. All right. Okay. A cell site warrant, guys, basically what it is it's what you would do is you would do a search warrant, okay? And that search warrant is for the historical cell site data of that phone. And what that will do is it'll tell you, right, when you do that warrant, it'll tell you the towers that phone connected to when it was being used. And why that's important is it'll give you a location as to where that phone was used, okay? So that will allow you to put someone at a place at a time when a phone call was made. So if they try to sit there and say, oh, well, I wasn't there, I could literally say, well, no, that's a lie, because this cell phone was utilized at this time on this day when this crime was being committed, and we know that you're the subscriber of the phone or someone close to you was using the phone, explain that. So that's why it's so important, because it puts the phone in an area with reasonable certainty at a point in time. Very important with murder investigations, very important with crimes where location is important if you're trying to destroy a suspect's alibi. Very, very important. It's called a cell site historical. There's many different terms for it, but historical cell site warrant is what we used to call it. But it has different terms. But that's basically what it does.
Somewhere along the line, it's hard to stay off the grid. How did he stay off the grid? He had cash, but now he's gone. Where is he, and who could he be with? Who could he be with at this time?
That's what I want to get into now. So there's a bunch of other aspects to this. Do you think he had help?
Proficient shooter, planned ideas. It's hard to continue that without some sort of assistance or some sort.
Yeah, he's definitely a proficient shooter. He took obviously a proper stance when he shot. He didn't really miss. It looked like he hit all his shots. So the guy knows how to fire a gun, and then the way he was racking the gun, this guy definitely has some firearm experience.
Sort of help in a sense to kind of, because usually people when they involve themselves in these types of shootings, and the showcasing's there with deny, defund on that, creating an ideology or creating an anger. Someone sometimes has to support that. Someone doesn't really always go off by themselves. Okay, the lone gunman. Something had to get him to the point where saying, today's the day. I'm going to do this. He planned this. Oh, this has been planned a long time.
Guys, let's get the likes up. We only got 600 likes. We got 1,400 watching, man. Let's get to 1,000 likes, guys. Let's hit 1,000.
Comes here. He sits in front of around the hotel area.
If I may, let me just jump in. The reason I ask you that, more than just helping with the ideology of this, he knows exactly where Thompson is going to be at precisely that time. Now, unless he knew he was going to be a speaker at the investors conference, how did he know that he was going to show up early at that time? And it makes me wonder, could he have found this information out on his own, or did he have inside information? And again, we're speculating, we don't know, but it's a question, I think it's a fair question to ask.
We always have to speculate because, we have to see because that's the thing. That day, if he's here this long, the victim is here a day. He doesn't do anything until this moment. And I've always asked this question I always ask, why now? Why is this moment the time he does it? Because he knew the scheduling. The conference is at 8 o'clock in the morning. He's there at 6. He knows how he knows he's going to be there alone, no one else. That's something either he was being told or he followed him in there and waited.
And these are going to be good questions. Obviously, when you got the suspect in custody, this is when you're going to ask these questions as to like, hey, how did you know this? Did you follow him before? Do you understand his schedule? Do you know about the guy? Do you know that he likes to be at places very early? That is actually, it's interesting because it's very obvious that this killer did his homework in certain regards, but then he fucked up in other regards, right? Like, he was careful and did things meticulously on one end, but then he made some really gross errors on other ends. So it's really strange, but yeah, that's definitely something when you got the suspect in custody, you're going to want to ask.
That day to get him by himself. So that's what you have to look at.
And I want you to keep that in mind because investigators have recovered a cell phone that might have been.
And guys, this came out like a day or two ago. There's new info that just came out from CNN and stuff, and we're going to be reacting to that as well.
Belong to the suspect and reporting from.
By the time this stream is over, we're going to be the most up to date on fucking YouTube on this shit. All right, and with the best info. All right.
CBS says they have footage of this person, the suspect, talking on the cell phone at 6:30 a.m. So what is that? 15 minutes before the shooting. Now, could he be just having a regular conversation, or?
No, definitely was probably speaking to a co-conspirator because the fact that he left the phone there means that he was confident to leave it there. He was using a burner phone. The person he called probably was also using a burner phone, but it's a great point of, beginning cell phone analysis for sure.
Would he be speaking with somebody about Thompson?
Like I explained before with you guys with the cell site data, etc.
Yeah, that's the $1 million question as far as that conversation on the phone. And that phone is pertinent to find out who was called, what the numbers were called. And detectives are doing, that phone is getting opened up.
See, just like I told you guys, you're going to look at every single phone number that this phone contacted, and you're going to subpoena each of those phones. And then I would do cell site warrants on every single one of those phone numbers and figure out where all those phones were located. Because even if you don't have the subscriber, let's say the subscriber comes back to a fake ass name,
fine, it doesn't matter. What's important is you will be able to know where they called from when that phone call was made. That's super fucking important.
They're going to do their forensics on that phone. But that's a question you have to look at. This is not, is this a solo gunman that talks to someone on the phone? Is that a girlfriend? Is it a family member? Is it a loved one? Or is it someone on the other line who... And
I'm gonna do a Fed Reacts for you guys, and probably a Twitter space where I just talk about how police exploit telephones. There's so many different ways to exploit telephones that I can't even, that I gotta go through and do a whole episode for you guys on this, right? And this is someone that's written, by the way, I've actually written a T3 affidavit, right? 99% of these law enforcement guys that are on these fucking talk shows have never done a Title III in their fucking life as the actual affiant. I've done it as the affiant. I was the guy that wrote the fucking warrant. I sent it out to OEO. I've dealt with Department of Justice, brought it to a district judge, all this shit. So there's no one on YouTube that could talk about cell phones to the degree that I do. Nobody, right? And I say that with so much confidence because most agents don't do Title IIIs because it's so fucking hard. It's so difficult to do one, right? And for those that are wondering what a Title III is, a Title III intercept, guys, is a wiretap, okay? So it's one thing to work on a wiretap. Cool, I worked on a wiretap. Motherfucker, were you the affiant? I thought so. Shut up. So we will do an episode where I talk about how law enforcement exploits telephones for you guys. All right, I'll do that in the future. That's a whole other episode, though. Guys, 700 likes. Let's hit 1,000. We'll keep cooking on this thing. When it comes to this stuff, guys, I'm very arrogant because I did this stuff. You know, I'm very humble about other stuff, but when it comes to law enforcement, doing criminal investigations, how cases are done, drugs, human smuggling, firearms, all this shit, this is my fucking wheelhouse. I spent over a decade doing this shit at a very high level when I was on the Southwest border. I was very passionate about it. So that's why I speak with such passion about this shit, because I used to really do this and I really love it. So I could talk about this shit for hours, right? That's why I started this fucking channel, was because I was like, yo, you know what? I'm not law enforcement anymore, but maybe I could teach guys and give you guys insight that other commentators can't give y'all. So that's why I do what I do. So yeah, like the video, let's keep going.
Is telling him this is what's going on. Yeah. That's the question you have to ask.
And going back, the surveillance video shows the suspect walking out of the Midtown subway station at around 6:15 a.m. on that Wednesday. This is a half hour before the shooting. As we mentioned, he stops at the Starbucks, where NYPD says, again, he paid with cash. And aside from, later talking on the cell phone, investigators have also said they have collected some sort of evidence that could provide DNA. They haven't said exactly where it's from, what it's from. If that's the case, A, how quickly can they, analyze that DNA? And, is that going to be a clear-cut match to who they're looking for?
This is the thing about DNA. DNA is very good. It's a very accurate way of identifying someone, but they have to be in the system in order to be able to identify. That's a very important aspect to it.
And what he means by in the system, so a couple years back, there was like mandated where everyone that's arrested federally needs to have their DNA pulled. What they do is they just swab their mouth. So it's possible that if he's been arrested before and he's been processed, especially in the federal system, that they're going to have DNA in there.
Because we'll have DNA, we may have a DNA match from location to location, but a DNA hit is where you have a person identified. So the one thing is his DNA available and accessible? Does the law enforcement have a sample of his DNA prior? There are ways of also analyzing it, this familiar DNA and nuclear DNA the science has gotten better. But we have to make sure when we get that DNA, we have something. Yeah. Because, we have a definitive person, but we may not have an absolute hit. In other words, we have the DNA and it belongs to Mr. X or Mr. Y or Mrs. X or Mrs. Y.
There's also this other bizarre twist in the case because police in Minnesota, they were called out to two homes that were owned by the Thompson family the same day as the shooting, and they were called out for a bomb threat. Now, police say that the family was unfortunately a victim of swatting. According to the Minnesota Star Tribune, the police had got a report of a bomb targeting the two houses at around 7 p.m. on Wednesday, and Brian Thompson had owned one of the homes. His wife, Paulette.
Yeah, so his wife is in Minnesota.
Thompson had owned the other. They were only about a half mile apart from each other in Maple Grove, Minnesota. This is outside Minneapolis. And according to a statement from police, no devices or suspicious items were located during the investigation. The case is considered an active investigation. Recently graduated, and the New York Post reported that after that bomb threat, there is now a security guard posted outside of Paulette's home.
Let's fast forward.
Well, we have to ask him something. These are the questions.
Yeah, so obviously talking to his family is going to be important, guys. Like, the guy is someone that is going to be disliked in the insurance world. So talking to family members is going to be very important. Hey, do you know anyone that would wanted to kill him? Do you have any of the letters? Do you have any of the emails, etc.? All the threats that were made, they're going to obviously go back and look at those as well.
Says, what was the threat? How was the threat said or stated to your husband.
Because his wife had been swatted multiple times.
Hoping anytime someone has some information, they're going to be forthcoming with that information. You know, husband, wife, they're separated. I don't know the situation between them personally, but the reality is detectives can't be concerned about all the noise out there. We're trying to investigate this case and get to its rightful conclusion, which is the apprehension. What kind of threats? How do you know there were threats? Where were these threats documented? Was it a phone call? Was it an email? What was done? If these are the threats you're saying that are mentioned. And the question then goes is, you know, if there were threats, did your husband think these threats were viable? And apparently it doesn't seem to be, because he didn't have security with them at that time.
Can I ask you about that? So CNN reported that UnitedHealth Group, which is the parent company, they are supported by in-house security teams, but there was no team with Brian Thompson that day. I don't quite get that.
Well, that would be, we're talking about in-house, meaning that would have to be, do they travel with their upper management? That's a question, because that's also an added expenditure that they do. If these security guards that they have in Minnesota, are they licensed to carry in New York State? That's another aspect.
Yeah, he didn't have security with him either, so he must have felt safe. So this is from 10 hours ago from Fox. So let's go ahead and what the fuck? Why is this shit? Refresh the page. I don't know why it's acting crazy. What the hell? All right. Chad, bear with me here. I don't know what the hell's going on.
We continue to follow a major story that has gripped the nation. I wanted to share this post from the New York Police Department.
So here's some photos of him. Below are photos of a person. And let's go ahead. I'll pull this up on Twitter for you guys as well.
Sharing new photos of a person of interest wanted in questioning surrounding the homicide that happened in Midtown Manhattan on December 4th. The gunman who killed the CEO of the largest.
So here we go. Here's the actual tweet. I got it for y'all ninjas right here. This comes from NYPD News. Posted this 21 hours ago. They got it pinned, which obviously, you know, it's very important for them. Below are photos of a person of interest wanted for questioning regarding the Midtown Manhattan homicide on December 4th. The full investigative report of the NYPD are continuing. We are asking for the public's help. If you have any information about this case, call the NYPD Crime Stoppers at 1-800-577-TIPS. Additionally, you can DM NYPD Tips on X or on Instagram. There's a reward of up to $10,000 for information leading to an arrest and conviction. Okay, and they're putting out these photos as well. Again, I think they know who he is. And I think they probably know where he is. But why not get extra help, right? So this is what the NYPD put out. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the FBI probably also has probably put something out here. Let's see here. Yep, look, boom. So the FBI also, $50,000. I told y'all niggas they're involved. The FBI offers a reward of up to $50,000 for information leading to the arrest and conviction of the individual responsible for the shooting death of a man in Midtown Manhattan, New York, on the morning of December 4th. I think this is probably their poster. Yep. So, boom. So, they got the pictures here. Right? My man got the mask on. Which in New York, it's not weird to wear a mask still. Anywhere else you would think, what the fuck? So, yeah. But again, this was 24 hours ago, or almost a day ago.
U.S. health insurer likely.
Liam gave $15 with a slash. Thank you. Roger Show says, hey, man, thanks for the wake-up call on CC Premium. I'll come back to update you in a month on my fitness journey. Absolutely, man. Don't want y'all being fat. Also, guys, we are only at 750 likes despite the fact that we got 1,400 y'all ninjas in here. Guys, like the video so we keep cooking, all right? Like the video on YouTube, please.
Left New York City on a bus soon after the ambush that really has shaken corporate America. So this is a new photo of the person of interest.
And just so you know, the mayor of New York said that they know who he is. They just don't want to release it yet. So they know who the guy is. I think at this point, they're getting tips in to figure out maybe where he's at. But I do think that they have an idea of where he's at. They're probably interviewing his family right now as we speak.
That they're hoping to question. They issued that just a short time ago, so I did want to share that with you. Meanwhile, this is some surveillance photos of that person of interest.
Hey, Big Gucci Soldier Mike, fuck you, bro. oh, stop crying for likes. Shut the fuck up, you bitch ass nigga. You're getting free content, you fucking pussy. The only thing I ask is that you like the video, you fucking broke. And you're over here talking shit, watching my shit for fucking free. And I tell you to like the damn video, your dumb ass want to say some stupid shit like that. Fuck you. Niggas like you are the reason why I say like the video, because you idiots don't want to like the video, and I got to stop the video all the time to say like the goddamn video. So fuck off. Like the shit, dumbass. This idiot on YouTube, this dumbass named Big Gucci Soldier Mike. Shut the fuck up.
As police are still searching for the suspect. This is 5 days after the shooting of UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Police still not knowing the gunman's name or...
How you all watch someone's video and not like them? That's so weird to me. I'll never understand you dumbass niggas that watch my shit. You ain't even black, bruh. Why are you here then, nigga? Get the fuck out of here. Why are you watching the Fed? Talking about fucking criminal cases. Fucking weirdos, man.
Whereabouts or neither motive.
And then another loser, anonymous with a bunch of S's. Don't even show his face, pussy.
For the killing. That's according to the chief of detectives, Joseph Kenny, telling reporters earlier. Investigators were looking at whether the shooter may have possibly been a disgruntled employee or client of the insurer. The FBI announcing on Friday that it was offering a $50,000 reward for information leading to an arrest and conviction. Meanwhile, video of the gunman fleeing Wednesday's shooting showed him riding a bicycle into Central Park and later taking a taxi to a bus terminal that offers commuter service to New Jersey and Greyhound routes to Philadelphia, Boston, and Washington, D.C. Investigators also on Friday recovering a backpack in Central Park that may have been worn by the gunman during the shooting. That's according to police. This was after a massive...
Yeah, facts. We got some Anderson Reach fans in here, because I'll tell you this, Anderson Reach can't teach y'all nothing about how crime works or any of that shit, bro. Fucking losers.
Sweep to find that backpack in Central Park. To speak more on this, I do want to bring in Kenneth Valentine, who is a retired special agent in charge with the Secret Service and author of...
Bro, Secret Service don't do fucking criminal investigations like this, bro. Hey, let's listen to his commentary anyway. It's fine. But Secret Service does protection. They don't do criminal investigations at all.
Cheating.
Barely. Barely.
Death. Kenneth, we do appreciate you taking the time to join us here on Live Now from Fox.
My man, muted.
Absolutely. Yes,
to have to talk about the murder of a CEO, senseless in my mind that this couldn't have been, because I believe it should have been prevented.
And you were saying that it should have been prevented. And why do you think that is? There's been a lot of speculation and concern over the fact that the CEO did not have a security detail
Okay, he's going to talk more about the security angle. All right.
surrounding him, especially given the contentious environment surrounding.
And just so you guys know, let's talk about the Secret Service real quick. What are the Secret Service main mission? The Secret Service main mission, guys, is protection of the president, his immediate family members, foreign dignitaries when they come in and visit. I've done Secret Service details. They also do financial crime and counterfeit currency. That's actually the main reason why the Secret Service was created, was to investigate counterfeit currency. They don't really do murder investigations, really, or national security or anything like that, but I think he's going to commentate more from the position of personal security, why the guy should have had maybe a detail with him. But we'll go ahead and add in anything that he might miss. And Secret Service now is actually within the Department of Homeland Security, with Homeland Security investigations. And the reason why I know how Secret Service works so well is because I've done Secret Service details. Anytime they have a UN meeting or it's an election year, they heavily rely on HSI agents to augment their Secret Service details.
Healthcare. But what really stands out to you about this ongoing search, this case?
Yeah. Well,
Liam asked, Myron, how many people have you locked up? Hundreds, if not thousands, bro. Roger says, hey, Myron, thanks for the wake-up call. No. That man says, what's up, bro? I scheduled my first tattoo removal session for the 17th, working on my resume and my appointment on quick application on Wednesday. I appreciate your advice on Thursday. Call and show, bro. Absolutely, that man said, got you. Will Slabeck says, FYI, I know some guys from my unit responded to the scene about an hour after the actual shooting. No one's taking the shooting serious until they found out who the victim was. Literally, one of the biggest problems in NYC is law enforcement drag their feet on everything until someone lights a fire under their ass or the case/event starts catching major media attention. Absolutely. They always do.
You know, CEOs are assets to their company. They're groomed, they're hired, they're vetted, and so they have a price tag on their head according to the company as one of the company's main, if not most expensive assets. If you look at them as a one-off, and to think that this asset was walking down the street by himself, completely vulnerable, with no steps taken to limit his exposure, to mitigate some of that vulnerability that this top asset of the company experienced is kind of beyond me. I can't believe that they did not have the foresight to at least try to add some steps in there that would thwart this, that would mitigate that risk in some way. And, you know, I wrote in the book, I talked about protection a lot. It's not strictly a book about executive protection. It's more storytelling and advice. But I do talk about the need for protection, and not just from violence. You know, this CEO was exposed to not only specific violence, but just random violence. But it goes beyond that to reputational risk. CEOs, you know, their reputation sinks, so does the stock price of a company. And so when we talk about assets and value to the company, I'm very surprised that there was not some attempt to mitigate the reputational risk. You know, much like Billy Graham.
This is funny. Someone said, I thought NY laws, gun laws would prevent this. Well, that's the problem, guys. New York laws, you know, when you put in gun laws, it only stops the law-abiding citizens. It doesn't stop the criminals. The criminals are going to do what they're going to do, right? So gun laws only really impact private innocent citizens.
Graham did back in the day. Billy Graham wouldn't go to a hotel room without staff, and maybe if he had a security detail going into that hotel room ahead of time, making sure that not only is it safe, but that it is free from, you know, maybe a photographer with a hooker or something that, you know, where they would try to capture him in a compromised situation. This CEO is walking down the sidewalk. Obviously, it was knowable that he was going to be there. This guy knew about what time he was going to be there, and he had no security, no assets in place to prevent what could have been preventable.
So let's talk about what police know right now. They haven't identified the suspect, and now they're looking for this person of interest that we have been seeing photos of. They have retrieved a backpack. They're trying to, you know, take a look at some other evidence for the DNA. But when it comes to a case as high profile as this, are you surprised by the developments and the speed at which the developments are happening? Did you expect to know more, or are police intentionally being a little reticent about everything?
Good question. I suspect that they do know the identity of the shooter. I don't have any special inside knowledge about that, but they
definitely know who the shooter is. 100% they do. The mayor even mayor of New York mentioned this.
You think so? Really?
Yeah, the mayor of New York said they know who he is.
With the quality of the photos that have been shown,
they're trying to find him probably. He left New York City.
Okay.
So they have to rely now on other agencies and the feds to find him, which is probably why they brought the Marshals in too.
Suspect that plenty of people have identified.
It can be that if you have identified him, it can be that difficult to find.
Well, I mean, he probably anticipated that he was going to have to go on a run after this, so he might have things in place to hide himself. I mean, hell, he might be. He could easily be in Canada or Mexico by now.
Identified this young man already, and the police do know his name, and there might be a variety of reasons for withholding that at this time, maybe to continue his course of cockiness in his adventure here, and maybe cause him to be less careful going forward. So maybe they're withholding that at this time, but I certainly hope that it's just a matter of time before he is located, captured, and then interviewed.
Yes, and given that, and I did want to share with our viewers just one of the latest photos that the NYPD shared with us, and this was taken from a taxi cab. This is another photo from the person of interest. But you were saying, I mean, we're talking about New York City. There are hundreds of surveillance cameras at every angle, you know, and one would think, as they mentioned, that they are getting hundreds of tips, but you might imagine that they would be perhaps a little further along in the investigation, that they are letting on to the public. You know, what are you keeping a very close eye on when it comes to the next steps, when it comes to additional development?
I think the only reason they're releasing these additional footage, these additional pictures is so that, because here's the thing. So, look, a lot of the hard work is done. They know who he is. They know who his family is. They know where he's from. They know probably his background, etc.
They probably don't want to release it to the press, right?
No, they released already these pictures. So I think the reason why they release these pictures is so if someone calls in and says, oh, I know that guy, it's XYZ, and they know who he is, well, then now they could take that witness seriously and talk to him. Because here's the beauty. If you're doing a case like Zodiac Killer, right, where you don't know who the shooter is, you're just looking for help from the public, you don't really know too much. You kind of know some things that, like, you didn't release to the press on purpose, maybe like the way the murder was done, all this shit. But you start to vet a lot of people when they come in with information. But the more details you have, right, and the more information you know, like you know who the guy is, you know where he's from, you know his family, etc., the more you can screen out time wasters. So they're putting these pictures out more than likely, not necessarily to identify the guy, but so that they can kind of maybe figure out a motive, figure out associates, figure out things about him that they might not have known. So let's say the guy's name is Tom, right? He looks like an Italian or an Arab. Let's say Tom Soprano, right? Let's say Tony Soprano, one of my favorite shows, right? Let's say the guy's name is Tony Soprano. If people call in and say, oh, I think that's my cousin, Cliff, click, they don't care. Oh, I think that's my friend Tom, click, we don't care. Oh, yo, that's Tony Soprano. Oh, really? Okay, tell us about Tony. How old is he? He's 35. And then they look, yep, he's 35. Oh, okay, what else can you tell them? He lives in this area, blah, blah. Oh, look it up. Oh, yeah, he does live in the area. Okay, we're going to send out some detectives to talk to you. Boom. Because that's actually a good lead, right? Versus all these idiots call in thinking it's their cousin or their neighbor that's the fucking CEO killer. It's not. So that's why they're putting out this information. They're putting limited information out there to gauge the quality of the people that call in to provide information. Does that make sense, chat? Give me ones in the chat if that makes sense. And like the goddamn video, because y'all ain't gonna get sauce like this anywhere else. We got 911 fucking viewers, 911 likes. We got 1,500, almost 3,000 y'all ninjas in here watching this thing. Actually more than that, because a bunch of you guys are watching on X. We got 12,000 views already on X. So guys, like the goddamn video. But now you guys see why law enforcement puts out shit like this. Even when they know who the individual is to weed out the weirdos. Versus the example I gave you with the Boston Marathon bombers, they're at the mercy of the people. Because at that point, they didn't know who they were. They didn't know their names. They didn't know anything because it was just random CCTV footage.
Yeah. You know, I know that they were searching Central Park Lake there, looking for specifically for the weapon. That is going to help in this investigation. Number one, knowing that he does not still retain that weapon. Doesn't mean that he doesn't have additional weapons, but at least he doesn't have that one. And I think a direction of travel is going to be interesting. There was some speculation that he was bound for Atlanta. I don't know what led them to believe that. Maybe it was the bus that he got onto. If he stayed on that bus, that'll give them good direction. And then some confirmation, additional surveillance footage that shows that they're on the right track, that direction is accurate, that, you know, if we could come up with some proof that he's in Atlanta, then, you know, the news tightens, the net gets smaller, and it will be within hours or days of closing in and actually catching this guy.
And also, I want to ask you from your expertise, the police were sharing with the public that they found some shell casings with the words delay, deny, defend on them. And it relates to the title of a book talking about the insurance business and the...
Yeah, definitely he's going down for murder one just off of that alone, FYI, guys. Putting the stuff in a bullet, writing the stuff on the bullets and putting it after a book that talks about the insurance thing, he's going down for murder one just off of that alone.
Companies.
We're not even talking about the recon, taking a bus, using a mask, using the silencer, none of that shit. That's going to put him for murder one off of that alone, bro.
you know, on that level, with the psyche behind individuals who are behind these acts, does it seem as though this person wants to get caught? I mean, they just left some of these clues there.
You know, to me, it smacks of cockiness. You know, he left those shell casings with markings on them. Certainly, he didn't leave also his fingerprints on those. But then he stuffed the money, you know, Monopoly money into the backpack, knowing that backpack would certainly be found. So there is an air of cockiness with this young man, and hopefully that also leads to mistakes that.
And he wants the attention, that's for sure.
He would make along the way. I know they have, you know, they've got the burner phone, they've got a water bottle that they believe he used. They now have the backpack with possible forensic evidence there where they could get DNA or maybe even a fingerprint. We know the taxi that he took. We know that he went into the bus station. So he's leaving a trail. You know, whether it specifically leads to him quickly or not is up in the air. Certainly all will be useful if we get to the point of having a trial. And so all of that evidence will be logged and used to convict him if we get the chance to prosecute him.
Well, I'll tell you this, when they catch him, he's cooked. Bro, there is no, if he goes to trial, he's cooked.
So timeline-wise, every case is very unique, and it's all dependent on a number of factors. But given the fact that we're now in day 5 and police are still searching for the person of interest in these photos, wanting to talk to him, does that surprise you at all that it's now gone into 5 days, or do you expect that it will go for quite some time?
Well, I would say that I am a little surprised that it's gone this long. I was certainly hoping that day 4 would be the day, and now I'm hopeful that day 5 would be the day. But I don't think it's an indication of a poor investigation or anything like that. I know NYPD. I've worked with them.
They're looking for him. That's why it's taking a while. They either A, are still looking for him, or B, found him but are have eyes on him, making sure it's 100% him.
I've worked with the FBI. They're some of the best, and so I know that they are doing a great job of tracking this guy. It's just a lot harder than you think, and so with you know, with our tendency toward attention deficit disorder, and I know I've been one of those, checking my phone constantly to see if the news is out that he's been caught. I think we have an expectation for this to be wrapped up very quickly, but the process of gathering the evidence, analyzing the evidence, that takes time. And so we like our popcorn microwaved, but this is going to be a slow cook, and hopefully he will make a mistake that will quickly lead us to his full identity and his location.
Kenneth, as the police and investigators are continuing to do the legwork on their end, anything in particular that you are keeping a very close eye on?
Also, another thing, I will say this, guys, in my professional opinion here, the longer it takes, the more I'm thinking he might have fled the country. That's also something that's very important to understand. Because I'm certain that they have him identified. At this point, they've probably already talked to his family members. I know they've already went to the hostel. So if this goes beyond a week, there is a good chance that he might have fled the country. And once they flee the country, obviously things become a bit more different. Now we're talking about geopolitical and diplomatic implications. We're talking about, where did he flee? Did he go to Canada? Did he go to Mexico? Every country has different timelines on dealing with fugitives, guys. And that changes things significantly, because now you're going to really have to rely on your federal partners to help you get this guy. So that's also something that should be accounted for as well. The longer this takes, the higher the likelihood he might have left the country.
Can they
Well,
extradite him, wherever he is?
Depends on which country has him.
Okay.
If he's in Russia, cooked. But if he's in Mexico or Canada, we'll probably be able to get him. But there are some countries in South America that won't extradite. I think Ecuador is one of them. So I wouldn't be surprised if he isn't on his way to outside of the country and trying to get somewhere where they won't extradite. I mean, he could be staying in the United States too, but
He has to be very
he's got to
local.
have a little bit of common sense to realize that killing someone of this magnitude in Manhattan, in New York City, would bring a ridiculous amount of law enforcement attention.
His propensity to travel is interesting to me. He traveled to New York City. He went days in advance to set this up, to plan how he was going to do this. And so he used possibly trains and buses, taxis. He's used a bicycle. So this guy likes to be on the move. He shows a proclivity for getting around. He's not probably holed down unless he's found that place where he feels like he can be safe. So I would look for him to continue to be on the move, and certainly the surveillance, the prevalence of surveillance cameras and facial recognition is going to help locate him, track him, and bring him to justice.
Well, Kenneth, we appreciate you taking the time to join us here on Live Now from Fox News.
All right, now let's go ahead into CNN now.
The gun used by the suspected shooter. Police revealing just moments ago that they are looking into the possibility, as you look here, that the assassin used, right there, let's pause it, that gun in his hand as a veterinarian gun. That's a larger firearm. It's used on farms and ranches. Police are also revealing they're talking to Brian Thompson's family, as well as people he worked with and local law enforcement in Minnesota. They're saying so far they don't have any indications that the killing had anything to do with his personal life. Back with me now.
Guys, we're at 964 likes. We got 1,500 plus y'all ninjas in here, closing in on 1,600. Guys, all I ask, like the video, and I got to donate $1 to the show. Like the video. That's all I ask. Open up a tab, like it on YouTube so that we can go ahead and hit the algorithm nice and hard, because I'm giving the best analysis on this fucking case on YouTube by far. All right, I'm telling y'all this. I am the best. So like the goddamn video.
Former Boston Police Commissioner Ed Davis and former NYPD Detective David Sarney. Okay, obviously, you know, this...
Oh, this, if I'm not mistaken, this is a police commissioner during the Boston Marathon bombing, guys. He lost some weight. And that's the detective with the bad haircut that was commenting on law and crime. So let's see what they got to say.
At this point, moving very quickly here on this Friday night. Ed, can I just start with you, this gun, and we were freeze framing it there. You know, we've heard about it, that there were a couple of jams, right, that might have had to do with the silence.
And we'll be talking about the jams here in a second. We'll react to Colin's video.
So far, but now this new reporting, a larger sort of rifle used to put down animals on farms. What would that actually reveal about this killer, that he would have had such a gun?
Hi, Aaron. There certainly have been a number of theories as to why that gun had to be cocked so many times. And frankly, this is a valid explanation for it. If this is a specialized weapon that's used on a farm, it wouldn't need to be automatically able to fire after each round. It would be something that you could do a single shot with. And it appears as though that's what's happening here. Now, that would lead one to believe that there may be some nexus to rural areas of the country, and this is either someone who's been aggrieved by the insurance company or maybe even an activist that is making a statement about business.
Right. So, you know, David, this is obviously new information, but can I just ask you your instinct on how hard it would be to obtain something like this? And I guess to state the obvious, I don't want to say a normal person, because we're not talking about a normal person, but it isn't obviously the first, second, or even third, or even 15th kind of thing you'd think of in terms of a gun, right? It is very specific, right?
Definitely very specific, and accessibility always deals with firearms. And that's why when this video came out, everybody was already making perceptions. And the benefit of this is when you start researching this and start doing the work, you find out more nuances about this firearm. We thought it was jammed, as former commissioner said. This is an unusual type of firearm to bring, but it comes back to accessibility. Someone had access to this. Did the shooter have it? Did he obtain access from someone else? Did he steal the gun from a location? And there is some slight proficiency in utilizing the firearm. So is he the one that owned that gun? Because that gun is, you know, usually when it comes to firearms, the gun usually floats from place to place, person to person. Usually when it comes to the legal firearm. This might be something that he possessed or he obtained possession of it from someone else.
John, obviously a lot of new developments today. The idea, first of all, on this gun is interesting. The idea that it could be
And this video, guys, came out 1 day ago, so recent. And then we'll look at some other stuff as well. And we'll, like I said, we'll walk down every single recent video and break it down and see where we are.
Veterinary.
And guys, we're at 1,000 likes. Shout out to you guys. Thank you guys so much. Let's hit 1,100 next.
Or a gun that veterinarians use.
Yeah, what Chief Kenny is talking about is after this assassination, you know, the NYPD went to its firearms experts and said, what is this gun with this enormous silencer? And they examined it closely. It's a blurry shot, but they also looked at the way he was manipulating the weapon, and they said, you know, that looks like the B&T VP9. Now...
Oh, shit. Okay. Yeah, they definitely had ATF there helping. Obviously, NYPD is going to have an enormous amount of resources when it comes to identifying guns, but the ATF was also involved in this investigation with helping out as well. And trust me, guys, in the law enforcement world, we got a lot of gun nuts that know guns and can look even on a grainy, shitty CCTV footage, be able to identify it.
As you see, it has this large extended silencer that is screwed onto a threaded, rather short barrel. But the way the gun works is you fire it with that trigger, and then it doesn't automatically load the next round. You have to pull back on the rear of that slide and then let it go to eject one round and feed the next in. If we look at that videotape taken during the actual shooting, you see him fire the gun, he's pulling back, firing the gun.
So it's not necessarily that it jammed, per se.
Right, so that's the question. And here's the investigative conundrum, which is he's manipulating that gun that appears to be this, kind of assassin's weapon, but they also found shell casings on the ground, but they also found live rounds. So the question is, was he familiar enough with the working of the weapon? Did he?
It does look like in the second, there's, if we re-rack it,
Yeah, and you can see, he's literally, he knows that the gun's gonna, not get into battery. So he just, boom, and he, it's shoot, boom, shoot, boom. So he knew. And then you can see him rack it a few times, so he probably wanted all the shells to be expelled so they can show, obviously what he wanted, to deny, delay, all that crap.
He fires, he does it, he fires, there, and then he fires, and then he seems to tap it 2 or 3 times.
Right, so either he's undergoing a malfunction.
Well, the other thing too, just so you guys know, in firearms training, they always teach you to tap and rack. So if your gun jams, right, they teach you tap, right, with the magazine, and then rack. Tap, rack. That's what they always teach you. That handles most firearms issues, right? So right? So they teach you, I got my gun here. I don't know if I could put it up on YouTube and show y'all. Yeah, well, you guys get it. You guys understand. But yeah, tap, rack. They teach you that in all firearms training whenever the gun comes out. So you can see I'm doing that. So the guy's obviously trained with a pistol.
Because he doesn't know how that weapon works. Or, it's a blurry shot. It may be another weapon, even a ghost gun with a large suppressor or silencer.
Scott, what do you
on
make
the end?
Like you mentioned,
so he doesn't even tap. He just racks it because he knows
the drill, tap, rack, ready to cycle another round in there, or he got overzealous and he cycled 2 rounds there instead of just pulling it.
All right, so this guy, former FBI, that's talking Scott Curtis,
back and letting 1 round cycle into the chamber.
But there's a weird cultural thing here. You wouldn't be committing a professional murder with a veterinary's gun, but this gun is based on the design of something called the well rod. And even going back to the British and the Allied forces in World War II in the 1940s, the well rod was the assassin's weapon. When you fire it with that suppressor, you get a sound like a book hitting a table in a library.
And the idea of why a vet would have that is so that it doesn't disturb, I guess, other animals.
Exactly. It's practically silent. It's a significant round. It's a 9mm round, and it's meant for close-up killing. It's meant for vets to kill an animal by shooting it in the head or somewhere that's going to be fatal. But it would work the exact same way on humans very effectively and extraordinarily quietly.
Juliet, if he's going, if he commits this murder, gets on the bike, goes through Central Park, goes up to, into the 80s on the west side, hops in a cab, goes to the bus station, I assume those are all things if he came to this city, there's not a lot of people who aren't from this city would even know about that bus station up by the George Washington Bridge. And I don't know if that's one of the things in the 10 days of reconnaissance that while he was in the city that he learned about, but there can have been at that time in the morning.
So these are different areas, right? So you got here Central Park. So as seen entering taxiing West 86th Street and Columbus Ave. Seen bike out of the Central Park 77th Street. Location hotel, the Hilton Hotel. Location of discovered backpack in Central Park. And then Center Drive entrance. And then seen entering a bus station up in Broadway.
Morning, that many buses going to places from that bus terminal by the George Washington Bridge. I don't know how busy that terminal is, but it's got to be less busy than Port Authority.
Right, and it is. And but what we do know from this activity is he planned his exit and probably his exit from the city almost as carefully as he planned the assassination. So this is someone who's thinking of the full circle. This is not a mass shooting. It's not a suicide. It is someone who wanted to get out and thought through it. And all those actions that you just said, not once does he stop, not once does he surveys, not once do we see his face. So I have been writing and saying, whatever we think this is someone
the police are doing one thing and they are bumping up against the anticipation he had that they would do exactly that. And he is playing, it's sort of like a cat and mouse now. The surveillance has not been as fruitful as we wish. Even the face that we see is apparently not showing.
This lady's a national security analyst, not law enforcement, FYI.
A match. He kind of knows how to cover himself. And so in some ways, this surveillance state, which exists in this city, it's a dense city, it's got lots of cameras, in some ways he was surveying it and knew how to get around it.
Scott, I mean, how much does him leaving the city, if in fact that's what he did, we know he got into the bus station, we don't know, no video of him leaving, how much does that complicate the law enforcement manhunt?
Well, now it's completely expanded tenfold here in where.
I didn't watch this video before I brought it to you guys. So what I called it, right? It's obviously they're going to have to rely on the federal partners a lot more now that it's out of the city. He probably left the state as well. So that's where the marshals are going to be important for this.
He could be, and he's had how many days now advance on law enforcement there to work himself out of the New York City area. Obviously, it'd be easier to try to corral him within the city because there are all these choke points, right, with bridges and tunnels and the way out there through bus, train, plane. And, I figured he was going to come in and go out by bus because there's less scrutiny there with not having to provide identification, no screening of bags there. So
traveling with a weapon.
Right, if he's bringing the weapon in here, then he can do that obviously a lot easier.
Guys, like the video? Let's hit 1.1K. Got 1,600 y'all ninjas watching. I'd like to finish the video with 1,500, but like the video, guys?
On bus and potentially on a train, but not on a plane, obviously.
John, we've been talking about why wasn't the bag found in the last couple of days, Central Park. If he was only in that park for 15 minutes, we know generally where he entered and where he exited, there's a limited route you can travel. I know they're being very careful, and Shimon is reporting they're using an excavator and they got the surrounding material as well in case he spit or there's any DNA on the ground. But would somebody have immediately looked inside the bag? I mean, with a Tyvek suit and just to see, is the gun there?
Their instructions were, if you find it, freeze the location. Do not touch it. Wait for the detectives, wait for the crime scene unit, and let them package this up, because this is one of these things where even touching it or going through it with rubber gloves, you can smudge prints, move DNA, contaminate it with your own material. When they go to trial, they want to be able to testify. This was all done with perfect procedure in terms of trying to preserve that evidence and then extract that evidence.
We know it's interesting though. He wanted to escape, but he also wanted to leave behind bullets that have these words written on them.
That's exactly right. He is the master of sort of wanting to be seen but not wanting to be found. And this gets to what we've all been talking about, this sort of the creation of a cult around him, him becoming a sort of folk hero for people who don't like their health insurance companies. I think it's disgusting, but nonetheless, the fact that he seems to come from nowhere and go nowhere. The NYPD is now at day 3, almost day 4, and nowhere closer is part.
Well, like I said, I think they got this guy 100%. Now it's just a matter of finding him. They know who he is, which is half the battle. So, also, real quick, let me read some chats here. We got, check out Garand's video on YouTube. He breaks his theory down on the weapon used. That's from Money. Myron, do you believe professional hitmen exist? They do, just not used as often as you guys think. If you don't believe, as times change with the digital world, a hired professional hitman can have fake IDs, credit cards, skin masks, etc. I understand this guy looks like an amateur, but hiding in plain sight works more often than not. Yeah, there's been some people saying that a lot of these mistakes they think is purposeful. If this guy gets caught and goes to trial, if his story was he killed the CEO because they denied treatment that led to a lot of people dying, would the jury not convict him since no one really cares for those corporate types? What are your thoughts on something like that? That's not going to matter. That's not going to matter, guys. Where's the Discord? Do I find it? That's Myronius. Message Noble. If you have fled to a country like Mexico or Canada, do they have to comply and give the shooter back to the U.S. for extradition? More than likely they will. We have agreements with them. Where do I get access for CC Premium Zoom call? I'm already on CC Premium. Hopefully next time I'll be able to talk to you. Need your advice. Yeah, Machaka, we probably drop it in CastleClub that we're going to do it, but then we actually put the link in CastleClub Premium.
Of what he's able to manipulate. So I think he is using technology, media, these hints of the bullets, the coy smile while flirting, but not enough to know who he is. All of that shows someone who I think is sophisticated, at least in media and.
All right. This came out, I think, today, a few hours ago. Retired former NYPD commander says lie on manhunt for UnitedHealthcare CEO. Bro, these stupid ads. All right, well, while this dumbass ad plays, all right, cool.
Well, as I have stated this before, that he's not a professional, but he is calculated. All right, he obviously planned this out to a very good degree as well. He planned his escape route. He planned everything prior to it. I don't know if they have the exact number of days. It keeps changing of how many days he was actually here. But the fact that he left the bullets and the words he did put on there, he used the word depose instead of delay. He didn't use delay, he used depose. Who knows if this has anything to do with the civil suit that they may have instituted from somebody and it didn't go well. We don't know what it is. It could be just, you know, a red herring that he's throwing out there right now to throw people off for the real reason as to why he did this. I'm still not convinced that this is somebody who just happened to be, you know, upon him on that morning. I think he had intimate knowledge of where Mr. Thompson would be at that hour. Now, how did he get that knowledge is the big $1 million question right now. You know, how did he know to be there at 6:45 in the morning? So the fact that he was over there for a little bit at the one.
Again, and this goes to show, like, kind of like the halfway thing, like meticulous in some ends, but like sloppy in some others.
Witness who heard the shot said that man was there and they saw them there. They saw him there, and that says a lot. But he's leaving these clues. He's discarding it. He planned it from the beginning. I'm going to go through the park. I'll get rid of the clothes. I saw the bag. I felt that it was overloaded with clothing or something shoved in there. Maybe they'll find something that etched those words into the rounds, the spent rounds, as well as the live rounds that they recovered. I said, you know, maybe that's the thing that they may find. Maybe they found something at the hostel. But people have to be patient. These things just don't come 1, 2, 3. I mean, it looks like that on TV, all right, when the fact is, oh, look at him, he's going through the park. But this is days later that they're finding this out through the videos. He did this in a matter of, you know, like an hour, you know, and he's gone. He planned his escape. He's gone while they're still retrieving all these videos. So there's a lot of second guessing going on, but the NYPD is doing a bang up job with this. They reached out to the feds, and rightfully so. The feds have, you know, a more advanced, or I'd say a broader facial recognition system. So it's coming into, you know, the pieces are coming together right now. You know, with a lot of criminals, there's a, you know, this air of arrogance about them, that they feel that they're smarter than the police, they're smarter than everybody, they want to commit the perfect crime, but they're doing things to let them know that it is me. I mean, him showing his face, he had to
definitely want that attention, man.
know that there was a camera there, and he showed his face. Maybe it was just for that flirtatious moment that they discussed. But I even said, that's somebody I would like to speak to, because she actually had conversation with him, the clerk at the hostel. You know, and my big thing when I was running the Brooklyn Robbery Squad, we would pay attention to things, you know, details like the verbiage used by a perpetrator. You know, somebody that would say something and say it over and over in the robbery patterns we had, and that was important. So maybe he has an accent, maybe he said something or used a word.
Yeah, that is very important. And they're going to absolutely talk to everyone that spoke to him, because that will help them. Remember how I told you guys the cell site data with the phones? They'll be able to track who the other people were that spoke to him and see where they're from. More than likely, they're going to be people that know each other, right? So that is going to be important to see what part of the country he's from. And it'll confirm other pieces of information they have.
A specific word that makes a difference, but every piece of information is crucial. So the detectives know this, and they're the best detectives in the world. And I don't say it because I was with them. I say it because I wholeheartedly believe this, all right, that they know what they're doing. They have great direction from good bosses, and they're going in the direction that they're not getting tunnel vision by any means. They're looking in every direction. They're taking every tip seriously. And I'm sure there are tips coming in, because this man's face is on a nationwide platform right now through all the media. And somebody has got to recognize this individual.
Yeah.
And
Thanks.
he has to know that. He has to know that he left those clues. And I think it's going to be, when he does get caught, he's going to make it his moment in the sun.
All right. So let's go ahead and look at some of the other news on this thing. Close these other tabs out. Six minutes ago. Let's look at it. Just
The
upload.
moment they had a pretty good facial photo.
Sorry, guys. I don't know why it's only playing out the right-hand side. These news stations suck.
It was almost ball game over.
Experts say new evidence could be key to finding the suspect in UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson's murder. Surveillance video shows the face of a man police say is wanted for questioning. They say this is from a hostel where he pulled down his mask and smiled at a female employee.
I think we're lucky that we have a lot of surveillance. Obviously, we want more. And if anybody has any more information or surveillance, we want them to come forward.
Experts say law enforcement can use evidence to piece together a timeline that eventually could lead to an arrest. For instance, police now believe the suspect took a Greyhound bus to New York that originated in Atlanta.
NYPD and the FBI have a great ability to pull together video surveillance and piece it together.
This is a former FBI agent. You can see from her badge here.
Moment by moment by moment and follow somebody through any camera available.
And it's not just video evidence. Authorities say they think the suspect dropped a burner phone and a water bottle an official says has a smudged fingerprint. Investigators say they've
this nigga
found the words depose
and you see the blood there.
And delay written on a shell casing and live round at the scene. A popular insurance industry phrase is delay, deny, defend.
The moment an identity is fully established, things move very quickly towards arrest.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
All right. Let's see what else we got.
It is now day 5 of the
8 minutes ago.
hunt for the gunman who killed UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson in New York City.
NYPD releasing new photos of the suspect this weekend in hopes of someone recognizing him. Fox 9's Leon Purvis joins us live outside of UHC headquarters. Leon, the mayor says he's confident investigators are getting closer.
Exactly, Randy. Kelsey, investigators believe they're close to knowing who the suspect is. And tonight we have new photos, and they're pretty clear. They show him getting into a taxi cab and in the back seat of the cab. Now, this manhunt stretches well beyond New York City, 5 days after the shooting death of Brian Thompson. New photos released by NYPD of the man suspected of killing UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson. It shows him getting inside of a taxi. New York City Mayor Eric Adams is confident the suspect will be brought in soon.
The net is tightening, and we're going to bring this person to justice.
Right now, authorities will not say if they know the identity of the suspect.
We do not want to
See, they know who he is, guys.
At all. Let them continue to believe he can hide behind a mask.
One burning question: how did the gunman make his way through New York City with so many surveillance cameras and not be caught or identified after 5 days?
This is one of the most dense areas in the city. It's often where a lot of corporate functions are held.
Here's what we know so far. Police say the suspect got on a Greyhound bus in Atlanta on November 27th to New York City. He then used a fake New Jersey ID to check into a hostel before the shooting. Officials released these photos of the suspect while he was in the lobby of the hostel. After the shooting, investigators found a backpack in Central Park. New York media outlets are reporting it contained a jacket and Monopoly money. Authorities found a burner phone in an alley after the shooting, and they are looking to see if it's connected to him.
How can someone just walk out of New York City? Well, the fact that there are so many cameras and that there are so many people means you can just blend into the crowd.
Investigators also say they found 3 shell casings with the words deny, depose, and defend, which are popular phrases to criticize the healthcare insurance industry. Over the weekend, NYPD dive teams searched Central Park looking
Yeah, they went looking for the gun.
for the murder weapon. During
They still haven't found it, which is, obviously very important to the situation.
the search, investigators also found a discarded water bottle and a protein bar wrapper, which they are testing for DNA. The FBI is offering $50,000 for information that could lead to an
And $10,000 for NYPD.
arrest. NYPD is offering $10,000. Live Minute Talking tonight. Leon Purvis, Fox 9.
All right, so let's go ahead and look. Let's see. 18 minutes ago. This is from Fox Dallas.
It is now day 5 of the hunt for the gunman who killed UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson in New York City.
NYPD releasing new photos of the suspect this week.
All right, here's the timeline.
To talk about one of the major stories that we have been following for you. The manhunt and the unidentified gunman approached UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson has now reached its 5th day.
And guys, do me a favor real quick. I just pinned it in the chat for both YouTube and on Rumble. Also, I got it pinned on, well, I can't pin it on X. But join the CastleClub, guys. Join the email list. Get in there, get a bunch of free value, completely free. Join in. We want to bring you guys into the community. You could, join in for free. Watch the show on CastleClub when we have our free streams like this one right here. I'm live streaming right now on CastleClub, and you guys can go ahead and join the chat on there, which is way better, to be honest with you. They be cooking in there with all the memes. So join CastleClub, guys. Link is right there. Just put your email in and sign up.
Hey, we all remember what happened early Wednesday morning in New York.
We have a free version on CastleClub, and we also have a paid version. Paid version gets all the content, but the free version, you guys are able to watch live streams like this, which are completely free on all the platforms. You can watch it on CastleClub with the ninjas.
The suspect opened fire outside the New York Hilton Midtown in Manhattan and then vanished into the streets of the Big Apple, prompting a large-scale manhunt. And we've seen new images, we've seen new video, but we have not been able to locate the suspect. That is what is New York City Police are saying. They did come up with a timeline here of the shooting, and I want to kind of go through that for you right here on Live Now from Fox. Kind of gives you a detail of the map to what we all know. So number one there on the screen, at 6:44 in the morning, the victim is walking alone towards the New York Hilton Midtown after exiting his hotel across the street. And then number two moment there, the shooter who is lying in wait alongside the building fires at him. Then number three.
Hold on, let's see if we can get this in better quality for you, ninjas.
The lying in wait across the street, the New York shooting. We've seen new video, but we have not been able to locate the suspect. That is what is New York City Police are saying. They did come up with a timeline here of the shooting, and I want to kind of go through that for you right here on Live Now from Fox. Kind of gives you a detail of the map to what we all know. So number one there on the screen, at 6:44 in the morning, the victim is walking alone towards the New York Hilton Midtown.
I'm going to get myself out the way, guys, so you can actually see this. Boom. All right.
Town. After exiting his hotel across the street. And then number two moment there, the shooter who is lying in wait alongside the building fires at him. Then number three, the shooter then runs to an alleyway there across the street between 54th Street and 55th Street. Then once at West 55th Street, the shooter continues to walk on 6th Avenue where he gets onto a bike. The shooter rides north on 6th Avenue towards Central Park. And then at 6:48, the shooter rides the bike into Center Drive there. And then we all know what was happening next. The suspect goes to Central Park, was able to drop a backpack there. Inside that backpack containing Monopoly money. So once again, trying to put some egg on the face of the police and the investigators as we are all talking about this manhunt now entering the 5th day. They believe that the suspect sometime in that morning hour then went on a bus, and we do not know where that person then went next. Obviously, they are continuing to try to look really at every possible angle here of the videos that they are getting, but still need the help from the public there, as well as anybody that might know something about this shooting that really scared so many New Yorkers and really across the country there. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye on this major story for you. Earlier today, scuba divers were also with the New York Police Department. We're seen scouring a lake inside Central Park as the manhunt for the killer of UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson continued. Divers were searching for evidence inside the lake throughout the morning. The lake is near where officials found.
And if they got a diving team out, you know shit is serious, bro.
On a backpack linked to the suspect, images and video.
Divers typically only come out for homicide cases.
Show divers signaling to one another as the search continued there. So still a lot of moving parts right here, and it feels.
Now, here's an interview with a guy that actually stayed at the same hostel as him, bro. Check this out. Check this out, guys.
And Omar Jimenez is out front live in New York City. He is in front of the hotel where Brian Thompson was shot and killed, the Hilton there in Midtown Manhattan. And Omar, what is the latest that you are learning tonight?
Well, for starters, this is the second day where we don't know where this suspect is. We don't know who this suspect is at this point. And some of the latest video that we're seeing, some of it you just alluded to there, shows the shooter, the latest in the day that we see this shooter after the shooting, which is only about 15 minutes or so after the shooting, seen on the Upper West Side here. But for perspective, that's about 30 blocks from where I'm standing. And with a route that could take you through Central Park, which of course, as we know, is where law enforcement searched, and of course, where he is seen on camera exiting. All of this as the New York Police Department is putting out new images tied to this investigation that they believe the public can help with.
New images tonight of what the NYPD is calling a person of interest wanted for questioning. Sources say these photos showing this person unmasked and smiling come from an Upper Manhattan hostel where investigators believe the shooter may have stayed before the Wednesday morning murder of UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Another clue as investigators try to piece together the shooter's identity.
Pieces to the puzzle, they are still coming together. So we're on the right path, and we believe we're going to.
That's the mayor that got indicted, who I think is probably going to get a pardon from Trump. He's actually going hard on the immigration. He told them to cancel him, so you know he wants that pardon. But he'd probably have to actually go through the trial and get convicted and everything else like that to get the pardon. Which, by the way, guys, need you guys to do me a quick favor. Like the video if you guys are watching right now. We got 1,600 plus you ninjas on, well, maybe, yeah, almost 1,600 you guys watching on YouTube right now. Another almost 1,500 on Rumble. We got almost 3,000 you ninjas in here. And then we got another couple thousand watching on X. I see we got 15K views. I'm going to assume maybe 1,000 live viewers on X. I don't know. But like the video, guys, on YouTube. I'd really appreciate that. And then also join CastleClub for free.
Do you read the chats?
That's all we need. What was that?
Do you read the chats?
I did read on Rumble or?
Rumble, yeah.
Yeah, I could read some of those. Okay, car thief caught me sleeping. Literally, I caught his ass on camera wearing a mask and carrying a flashlight. Zimmerman 2.0. Lucky nigga. Okay. Message Noble on Twitter or on Instagram, guys. Let me see here. You said Rumble. I had some chats. Let's see here. Myron, did you have a shootout? No, I did not, Liam. Thank God. Almost came close to it a few times, but no.
To apprehend this person.
Police conducted a search at the hostel.
Like the video. Let's get 1,500 likes, guys.
And one law enforcement official tells CNN the shooter stayed in a room with two other men. Investigators continuing to ask the public for help and offering a reward for information of up to $10,000. And they continue tracing the movements of the gunman before and after the targeted killing.
What we do know is an extremely well-organized, highly planned, sophisticated attack from everything we've seen so far.
On the day of the shooting, surveillance video appears to show the suspected gunman exiting the 57th Street subway around 6:15 a.m. Minutes later, pictures show him at a Starbucks, where sources tell CNN he bought a water and 2 power bars, just 2 blocks from the shooting site. Then, at 6:29 a.m., surveillance video from a nearby garage shows the suspected shooter walking down the street while on the phone, just minutes before he carries out the killing of Thompson at 6:47. The gunman then makes a quick getaway, and this new video appears to show a person dressed in a similar way just 10 minutes later on an e-bike 25 blocks north of where the murder happened. Investigators also found a phone and a water bottle near the scene of the shooting. A law enforcement official tells CNN a fingerprint was also lifted from the bottle, but it was smudged. Also still unknown, the motive, but there are potential clues. Sources say a shell casing and live round found at the crime scene were etched with the words delay and depose, a possible reference to the phrase delay, deny, defend, which is the way some lawyers have described the tactics insurers use to avoid paying claims.
That would, of course, point in the direction that this person was somehow, was certainly personally invested in this murder.
Now, we mentioned that route fleeing north of here towards Central Park. As we spoke about, law enforcement searched Central Park for the backpack that was seen worn by the shooter in this shooting. Did not find the backpack and no indication of what may have been inside. And then on the hostel as well, law enforcement sourced.
What was that?
He wasn't wearing gloves, right?
He wasn't wearing what?
Gloves.
No, it didn't look like it.
Was telling CNN that this person used a fake New Jersey ID to check in, which at this point was days before the shooting. And here outside the Hilton Hotel, life goes on, people walking by as if nothing happened. But of course, for law enforcement, the priority is not just where this person went, who this person is.
Yeah, absolutely. Omar, thank you very much.
All right, so I have this video queued up for you
Up
guys
front
next.
now, Mateos, Toronto. He was staying in the same hostel on the same floor where police believe the suspected shooter stayed. And
1.1K likes, guys. Guys, like the video. Let's hit 1,500. Said 1,500 likes.
Mateos, I really appreciate your time. I mean, what a bizarre situation you find yourself in. I know you're visiting from Brazil. You've been staying in the hostel. You've met some people there. Can we just start with some of the photos you took on the 4th floor of the hostel where you were staying, where where police say he was staying? Can you tell us anything about that? What it's like in there? What those halls look like?
All right. So the hotel, the hostel is actually really crowded. There are a lot of people there, so they divide like.
Okay, let me tell you guys about New York City real fast. Okay, this is very important. So look, in New York City, I've lived there, spent a good amount of time there. I was actually born there as well. People go to New York City because it is the dream, okay? They go to New York City, they want to live there, they want to be able to say that they live in New York City, knows all this shit. And the reality is a lot of people that are there are just trying to make it. They don't have the resources, the money to really live there like that. So what ends up happening is people stay in hostels, they stay in shitty apartments, they stay in terrible areas, have a million roommates. It's very expensive to live in New York City, extremely expensive. And then it gets really cold, a lot of crime, etc. Very dirty. So, though what you guys are gonna see here, you're gonna be like, what the fuck? Why are all these people in hostels, hotels, crowded apartments, roommates, all this shit? It is very fucking common in New York City for people to do this. People will dilute the quality of their life to live in New York City. I don't know what it is, but it's people do this shit. They'll eat ramen noodles every day, go, drink dirty ass water. Like, people will do this shit to live in New York City, bro. I'll never understand it. As someone that's been there many times, I call it a scum city all the time. I make fun of it. I think it's one of the worst cities in America, alongside Los Angeles. But, it is what it is. There's no novelty there for me. So just understand, guys, that a lot of people do this shit. Another thing also that's important is in New York City, since there's so many people, no one gives a fuck. You can be having a heart attack, oh shit, and fall down. Niggas will walk over you and go doing what they're doing. Nobody cares, right?
There's so many mean people.
People are mean. People don't give a fuck. It's dirty. People live right on top of each other. Hostels are a thing. People pay a bunch of money to live in shitty ass apartments with 20 roommates. It's what it is. People will go broke and live a shitty quality of life to live in New York City. Okay, so I want you to kind of understand that before listening to this guy. You got a lot of immigrants in there. You got a lot of people that are broke, whatever, trying to figure shit out.
Rooms to, I think, 4 to 10 people, but in the
4
hallway.
to 10 people in one room.
Yeah. See, there you go.
Yeah, 4 to 10 or 12, 4 to 12, yeah.
4 to 12 niggas in a room, goddamn.
The hallway is just simple. It's just the doors that go to the rooms, the shared rooms. That's it. That's pretty simple. How the hallways look.
So it would seem from what you're saying that if he was staying on that floor, as they believe he was, that he would have had other people in the room.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so now you've been staying there for about a week.
Yeah.
And you're talking about these rooms that you got 4 to 12 people in a room.
Yeah.
So from what you're saying, he would have had other people in the room.
Yeah.
How hard would it have been to, as you see it, to even do something like to have a gun in there or something like that?
I mean, it would be that hard. Like if he put on like his luggage or something, because there's no metal detector. There's nothing like that. So I think just go inside and it will be all good. Like.
So he could have had something like that. In
yeah.
terms of seeing him, do you recall seeing, now you've seen his picture out there and you talk about the hostel being so crowded, do you recall seeing anybody that looked like him?
Yeah, I didn't recall anyone looking like that. And
he didn't recall because no one gives a fuck in New York.
People are saying that he always using the mask. So even if I saw him, I wouldn't recognize him because he was always wearing the mask.
Right, and obviously, as you were there those few days,
Yeah.
you know, you talk about the situation. There's no security. There's no, and lots of people coming and going.
There's like basic security there. Yeah, there's a security like you can't go inside without a card, so we have to check in to go inside. But like gun control doesn't have any. So yeah, that kind of security is none.
Right.
That's how he was able to probably sneak that gun in.
Right, and in terms just out of curiosity.
It is actually very weird now, at least here in Florida, to see people with wearing a face mask. But in New York, it's very common. Like, there's still people that think that COVID, well, I guess COVID is still very real in New York. When I went in 2021, it was still, like, a very locked down place. Like, every place was, like, closed and stuff. So I guess there's a lot of people there that are still wearing a face mask, and it's still very common. But in here, you want to see people wearing face masks, like, as often. That's actually very weird to see people wearing face masks. I will say it's often just old people that are, like, traumatized because of COVID. So it's actually weird that this guy didn't pick up on this guy because he was wearing a face mask.
Well, actually, you know what? I mentioned this lightly before, but I might as well say it now. Guys, in New York, it's filled with liberals and weirdos. So if you see people wearing masks in New York, like, it's kind of common, unfortunately. Like, there's a lot of whack jobs that are going to be wearing masks in 2024, even though we know about the scamdemic. In Florida, you make fun of them. In New York, it's like normal. So him being able to walk around with like one of these masks on in 2024 wouldn't raise that much suspicion versus if I did something like this in Miami with a mask on, people would be like, the people will look at me a little bit more weird. Like if you see someone with a face mask now in Miami, people will look at you like, bro, you're a weirdo. But in New York, you're not a weirdo. So he gets in a cab with a mask on, or he's doing all this shit with a mask on, he's walking around the hostel with a mask on, nobody's really gonna say anything. Because New York is filled with weirdos. So that's important to mention as well.
And I'm saying this because I went there literally like a month ago, and I still saw people wear masks. And it was like a common thing there. Like you will see random people just wearing masks. In here, I get shocked every time I see somebody wearing a mask because it's usually like an old person. Like in airports or like very like public places, there is people wearing masks. And it's okay because, there is people traumatized because of the COVID. But to see a lot of people wearing masks is kind of weird.
Yeah, New York
Still
only.
Weird.
Liberal cities, you'll see it.
Yeah.
Like New York and stuff. But Miami, we're more based. So yeah, you look at someone with a mask, like, what the fuck wrong with you, bro?
Yeah, it's weird.
But when you pay, you can pay credit, cash,
Yeah,
in terms
yeah,
of
whatever, yeah.
any way you want to pay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, it is really fascinating.
That's probably why he picked it. So many people there. He could use a fake ID, pay in cash, wear a mask. No one's gonna really ask him anything.
But also important, as you say, that he would have probably had a lot of other people in the room.
Yeah.
Where he was sleeping.
I think his room probably like had 4 to 6 people, but I'm not sure because I didn't get to come in there. It was locked. But the day that I arrived.
And detectives already went there and interviewed everybody that was in the room, FYI.
Cops there. People saw him. No, people saw the cops there outside the room. But yeah, everyone that was inside the room just went to another room, and I don't know who these people were. Like,
all right, let's now go to this. So, you guys, I want you guys to pick. Do you guys want?
Feels like you're just getting the surface.
We got 2 videos here. We got either the Colion Noir one or the debunking one. His video came out 2 days ago talking about the gun, and then this one is more recent. Yeah, which one do y'all want? Garand or Colion? What do y'all want?
Recent one.
Let's see what you guys want. See what the ninjas say.
The reason.
The most recent one? All right. Now, before I play it, though, I want you guys, we need to hit, what do we got here? We're 1.2. Let's get to 1.3, ninjas. Let's get to 1.3. K likes, just like the video. Yeah, most of y'all are saying thumb. All right. Most of y'all are saying thumb.
So right here, we have a Glock with a functioning suppressor. Now, just recently, a few days ago, the UnitedHealthcare CEO was assassinated using a suppressed firearm. The question is, exactly what did he use? Why was he cycling the weapon? What occurred? There are a ton of myths going around that maybe are from people who don't know shit about guns. My name is Michael Jones, former Air Force Special Warfare guy, shooter all around. Of course, we have with us Jeremy. Jeremy, what is your background?
Cyber simulative.
Luis Jimenez says, what do you think about Syria war and Assad being in Russia? Definitely got some takes on that. I don't know if I'm going to cover it tonight, maybe on a night train or tomorrow. I'm not sure. But let's get through this first chat.
Warfare veteran, so I play video games, that's it.
Today we're going to be busting myths, we're going to be talking about history, we're going to be doing what we do best on Grand Thumb, and that is being autistic. So there is a lot of conjecture going around over precisely what happened, over what weapon he used. We know that the NYPD is saying it was a B&T Station 6, which is a 9mm, a well-rod copy, which is a single-shot suppressor that uses wipes, and we'll talk more about that later.
That's what CNN was saying.
But there's a lot that we're seeing from the video that might disprove a lot of what's being said online, or even from what the NYPD is saying. So we're going to be going over 4 different theories over what we believe is probably most likely. We're going to be picking our favorite ones that we think are most likely, and we're going to be showing, based off of our firearm knowledge, which is at this point fairly extensive, what is most likely, and try to show you guys the truth here. A lot of non-truths, wouldn't you say, Jeremy?
I'd say so. A lot of guesswork at this point.
A lot of guesswork. We do a lot of shooting with suppressors, so let's go ahead and let's talk about it. So right here we have kind of 3 main examples of pistols and suppressors that you would see. But before we get into it, let's take a look at the shooting itself and let's break it down. So here's what we know. The UnitedHealthcare CEO was walking by. If there's anything that America loves, it's an outlaw. Isn't that right? It's for this reason that we're seeing a lot of praise for this man. We're not condoning anything.
I'll tell you this, Twitter was going crazy. They were like, we love this. Like,
That's what I was gonna say.
They were happy that they killed this guy.
There's a bunch of people praising him.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people praising him. And that's why I opened up this podcast discussing the issues with insurance in America and why so many people have issues with the insurance industry and how it's a very dirty business. And honestly, it's a very evil business. So with that said, I'm not going to celebrate this man's death. I think it's terrible anytime someone dies. However, I'm also not going to be green behind the ears and not and naive as to why this individual targeted this guy, because of the industry, of the insurance industry's problems with, letting people die, not giving them coverage, being in the business of profiting versus saving lives. And that's what it is, man. Like I said before, I explained it earlier, it's the only business where they're not really too concerned with with delivering the service. As a matter of fact, they do everything in their power to ensure they don't deliver the service they're supposed to deliver. So,
there was people that made.
This is not uncommon for them to get death threats. What are you gonna say?
No, the next day there was people that made shirts with the photo of the shooting, and it said delay, deny, and depose.
Yeah, because that's what he put in the bullets.
Yeah.
Here in Grand Thumb.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, shirts came out the next day. Yeah, yeah. This guy's gonna get praise. I mean, when the day comes when he's arrested, and if he decides to go to trial, there's gonna be hundreds of people watching. There's gonna be people that are cheering for him. There's gonna be women that want to have sex with him. There's gonna be he's gonna be a celebrity. He's gonna be like a fucking rock star the day they catch this guy. He's gonna get a lot of public praise for doing this because what he's probably gonna do, I anticipate, is that he's going to go ahead and try to say that I wanted to bring awareness to an issue in the United States, which is true. There's a serious fucking insurance problem in America. For all my international viewers, healthcare in America, our system is broken. It's very reliant upon greedy, profitable insurance industry, the insurance industry, where they're not really too concerned with helping people. Rather, they want to improve their margins. And to improve said margins, it's on not actually delivering the healthcare from the claims.
Are saying that America has a love affair with people who are Robin Hood-like in many ways, stealing from the rich and giving to the poor. Not saying that's what happened, but that's life. So first thing that happens, CEO walks by, our man walks out, he brings a weapon up, he fires. The weapon does not cycle, which is what leads many people to believe that it is a single-shot weapon. Despite that, we do see a lot of gas ejecting from the gas port. At that point, he cycles the weapon, he kind of rides it forward a little bit. This man seems to have, I would say, killed before, but probably not as well-practiced on a firearm. He cycles it, he brings it up, he has a misfire of some type, he then fully cycles it, fires again. He then steps up while cycling.
Yeah, and it's crazy because the guy was right there looking at him, like, and I just was, oh shit, he just ran.
The weapon, if you notice, he then taps the back, which could be both weapons. We'll talk about that. And then he seems to deliver a killing blow, at which point he leaves. So there's a lot that goes on in that assassination. And let's talk about how these different...
And it was also interesting, like, he could have just walked up to him and just shot him one time back in the back of the head and been done. So I did think it was a little weird that he saw him. It just said, took his stance and started shooting. Maybe he got excited. Maybe he got nervous. Obviously, you're about to commit a fucking crazy crime in broad daylight. In the early morning hours in the biggest city, one of the most populated cities in the world. But
theories could fit into that.
This
The first
guy
one
was
we're going to
very
talk about.
mafia-like.
Yeah, very mafia-like. We're at 1.2K likes. There's 1,600 watching, guys. Almost 3K watching total on YouTube and Rumble. We got probably another 15K on or 16K views on X. Guys, like the video, please. On YouTube, please. Let's hit 1,500 likes.
It was going to be theory 1. What the official theory is, which is that a B&T Station 6 9mm was used. Now, the B&T Station 6 is a fairly, I think, unique weapon. I don't think many people are going to be buying this weapon, and there are several reasons for this. It is a copy of the Well Rod, which was a World War II design. It is very quiet. However, it'd be a very curious weapon to use as a professional hit weapon, or to use as a hit weapon. One, it falls under the NFA, which means if you bought it, it's going to be easily trackable, which means it's likely not going to be used, and it's very unique. So it's a single shot. So if I want to...
So NFA, I think that stands for the National Firearms Act. Okay, boom. Including, National Futures Association? No, hold on. Yeah, National Firearms Act. There we go. So yeah, was originally enacted in 1934, similar to the current NFA, the original act imposed on tax and marking. Basically, when you purchase the gun, it's going to be tracked, right? More than likely through the form, the ATF form, I think 4473. And this is the ATF's website, by the way, guys. 4473. So yeah, this right here, firearms transaction record, which is how they got Hunter Biden's son and Kodak Black, as I explained earlier.
Load it. Once I have the magazine in, this is probably why many people believe that this is what he used. You have to twist the back, pull it back, push it forward, and then lock it into place. Now, here's what's very interesting about the weapon. Rather than using traditional baffles, which are essentially going to catch the gas as it's going through, but those are straight holes, the B&T Station 6 uses wipes. These are essentially rubber caps that the bullet passes through, and those wipes actually slow down the round and take it from supersonic to subsonic, which makes it very quiet, which you can hear right here. That is a ridiculously quiet gun. After you fired it, you then need to rotate, pull it out, and then you can load it again. So, very quiet,
And
but
it's just
it
regular
seems
bullets?
unlikely to be used for several reasons.
I don't know if it's a 9mm or 22.
What's the type of bullet that they get?
I'm assuming 9mm.
Okay.
1.
Or 22.
NFA. 2, if you notice in the videos, when he's actually cycling the weapon, he does not appear to be twisting and pulling and then recycling it.
Yeah.
He appears to just be cycling the slide itself. So I think it's somewhat unlikely that he's going to be using this. Now, if we take a look at the front right here, these wipes, as you can see right there, it's a very unique design. It costs a lot because wipes only last a certain number of rounds. After that, they're done. And they don't really last that many rounds. So this is very unlikely that he used the B&T Station 6. With that being said, we will try to recreate the scene to show you what it would have looked like had
Chaz saying 9mm.
he used the B&T Station 6. So it doesn't make sense to me because on that one shot, if you remember, he loads and then he taps the back. This is something that you typically do to a semi-automatic to seat the slide all the way forward. With this design, how it locks
Which I was
into place,
explaining to you guys, the tap and rack with like a Glock.
Rotated the lock forward, that wouldn't be something that you'd do to it.
Or any handgun for that matter that's a semi-automatic.
So I find it unlikely, but it's a possibility. So I would say theory number 1, that he used a B&T Station 6, I see probably the least likely of any theory that we have so far. And being that it's NYPD that suggested this, I think that makes sense. Theories number 2, 3, and 4 revolve around a functioning or semi-functioning semi-automatic weapon. In this case, we have a Glock, one of the most ubiquitous semi-automatic handguns out there.
Yeah, most common for sure.
And when it comes to suppressors, any of your normal suppressors are going to run pretty well. This one is some CGS, and it's going to run on pretty much any pistol you put it on. Now, suppressors on pistols are a little bit temperamental, and there's a reason for that. With a suppressor on any type of tilt-lock gun or any type of Browning action, you have to unlock the barrel. So because you have so much weight on the barrel, these have what's called a booster or...
You guys okay with the 1.25 speed, by the way? I mean, I'm understanding what he's saying, because I obviously understand firearms, but chat, I know some of you guys might not. So, you guys want regular speed or 1.25? Put in the chat what y'all ninjas want. This is democracy over here. While we do that, I'll read some of these chats. New York had a look-alike contest for the shooter. It's crazy. I'm sure they did.
Yeah, they did.
Do you think those mistakes were intentional so police would waste their time looking for those hints and he'd have time to get away to a different country? Jay-Z name just got dropped in the Diddy lawsuit. They accuse him of raping a 13-year-old. You should look into it. Okay. Yeah. Some niggas are saying 1.25, 1.52x. Okay, it's fine. All right, cool. Just want to make sure it's not too fast because obviously he's going. He talks fast and it's moving fast, and he's talking about something that's pretty detailed. By the way, guys, we're only 1.2K likes. Niggas, let's get to 1.5. God damn it. Like the goddamn video. Like the video on YouTube, god damn it. All right, let's hit 1,500 likes on this bitch.
A Nielsen device on the suppressor. It's essentially a spring that's compressed and runs in the opposite direction. So you can see it right here. See, I can pull that out. You have a big old spring right there. So when I'm firing this weapon, that's going to cycle. But if you don't have a Nielsen device, that pistol is not going to cycle, and you'll need to manually cycle the weapon each shot, which brings us to some of our first points that we're going to be making. So right here, we've taken apart one of our suppressors, and you can see the Nielsen device right here. It's essentially just a piston that's going to counter-operate and make sure that the barrel can run. Without this Nielsen device, this will not function. So the second theory is going to be that he used some type of home-built suppressor that did not have a Nielsen device. That way, he had to cycle the weapon manually between shots. Let's take a look at what that would have looked like. Now, all of our suppressors, even without Nielsen devices, are running fine. They shouldn't.
Angie, do I have my book, the Assassin book? I have a book here. I'll show you.
But they're just lightweight and they're made well. This is not typical of what you see. So we'll have to kind of manually do this. We'll be shucking out some live rounds. Let's see what that would look like. So, as you can see there, he would have had to manually cycle between rounds and the rounds wouldn't have ejected. I think this makes the most sense in terms of what is capable. Any type of suppressor that you're going to be buying requires that it go through NFA, the National Firearms Act, which means it has to be sent over to the ATF. There's a lot of paperwork when it comes to the suppressor. I think it's unlikely he would have used a registered suppressor.
And you got to pay tax on it, guys, if you're going to get a suppressor. You can get it, but it's tracked. Yeah, a lot of paperwork, and you got to pay tax on it. So, just so you guys know, this book, which I talked about in detail, okay, where the hell did it go? Hold on, chat. Hold on. Let me pull it. I had it here. All right, this book right here, chat. Hitman. A technical manual for independent contractors. Hitman is a book written under the pseudonym Rex Farrell and published by Paladin Press in 1983. Paladin Press owner Peter Lund claimed in an interview with 60 Minutes that the book started life as a detailed crime novel ran by Florida housewife, etc. The point is, guys, is this book talks about how to actually assassinate someone. And in the book, they talk about how to make a suppressor in this book. And I did a whole episode on this on Fed Reacts, which I'll find it for you guys as we continue to play this. But where a guy actually used this book to commit an assassination, okay? And the FBI actually found this book and used it as a piece of evidence against him. After that case, after that investigation, the book was banned. You can't get it anymore. I actually have a copy, but I'm going to find it for you guys of the episode that I did on it. That's why I asked Angie if she could find it.
And building your own suppressor, you can't stop people from having power tools. Seems a lot more likely he likely wouldn't have had a booster, which means he would have had to have manually cycled it. When he fired the weapon, the thing that I find interesting is it looks like he did kind of expect it to malfunction in some way or to not cycle, because he did go up to cycle.
Oh, you found it? Yeah. Oh, shit, here we go. Shout out to Angie for finding it. Don DeMarco for Angie. So here's the book, guys. Don DeMarco. Right? This is the book right here. Hitman, a technical manual for independent contractors. I've had this book now for a while. And I got it after reading, after doing the case, this case, which I'm trying to find out on Fed Reacts for y'all ninjas. Fed Reacts Hitman. I'm trying to find it. Hold on. Thank you for finding it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find it. Where the hell? Because I did a whole video on this shit.
On what?
On this case, because a dude actually used this book to actually commit a murder, and the FBI arrested him back in the 90s.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. What year is this book?
It's old. I think he did it in the 90s or the early 2000s. trying to find it for y'all ninjas.
83. Holy.
Yeah, and in the book, guys, just so y'all know, right? So there's like different things. Getting the job done right? There's
There's some letters in the back.
homework and surveillance. There's a whole chapter on that. Okay. There is the weapon that you need to use if you're going to do it, right? Which is a your finished product, useful, durable, inexpensive, and easily disposed of, right? Which is basically like a makeshift rifle that fires a .22 with a homemade silencer, right? And he goes into how to actually create the silencer, guys, in this book, right? Homemade silencer. Which if you're making a homemade silencer...
Is it legal to make something like that? Like a book like that?
A book? I don't think so, because maybe freedom of speech. But like, look, guys, he goes into all this detail right here on this shit. I'm really glad you found this book. Thank you, Angie. Yeah, look, a whole chapter. The disposable silencer. Right? Now y'all see, now I think you guys are starting to see why this book is fucking banned.
Oh, it is banned.
Yeah, it goes into equipment, right? Weapons, ammunitions, accessories, weapons. And the thing is, right?
Notice.
Like the goddamn video. I'm giving y'all a lot of sauce right now. Goddamn. So there was a lawsuit, guys, right? A triple murder in Montgomery County. A man who used the book as a guide, James Perry, who had been imprisoned for a violent crime, was caught, convicted, and received 3 death sentences. 3 death sentences for this. Hold on. Let me fucking FedReacts. Let me type in, try Matt. What's his name? Matt.
James Perry.
James Perry. Let me see if I can find it.
You gonna delete it?
No, I didn't delete it. It's here somewhere. I'm just trying to find it here. You know what? Maybe infamous serial killer cases. Let me try under high profile cases. But yeah, this case. Oh, my bad, guys. Right here. So Montgomery County. So the lawsuit, and that's what got the book like banned everywhere, pretty much. Was that? Hold on, I'm looking for the thing for you guys because I think you guys will really enjoy it. Hold on, I think, man, I've covered so many. Like, look at all these goddamn cases right here on the channel, guys. Y'all can see all this right here. No.
That was before me, so.
Yeah, it was a while ago. National security, organized crime. See, now I gotta find it. All right, let's see here. I'm gonna find this thing because I want you guys to actually like look at this case. Obviously, after, not now.
You don't remember what year you made it?
It was like
2022.
Yeah, 2022, 2021, something like that. Wait, hold on. What the hell? Okay, it's got to be here. So it's somewhere in this area. Oh, Jody Harris. I remember that shit.
No, it's before.
Yeah, because you helped me with that one.
Yeah.
What the hell? I did way more cases than this. I don't know why it's only cut. All right, I'm going to find it on the side for y'all ninjas, man.
Let's see.
I'm gonna find it for y'all. Either way, let's keep cooking. But yeah, this is the book, guys. Banned everywhere, but really interesting book. Goes into all this stuff. So, and I want to show you guys that a makeshift silencer is now something completely out of the norm.
When he fired and it didn't cycle, he kind of rode the slide forward. What that means is that when he was loading it, he didn't let it just go back on its own power. When you want to load a round in, you're supposed to just pull it all the way to the rear, release it. He kind of rides it, which then causes that malfunction. So then he cycles again and he gets it to run. And after he cycles that one, you notice he taps the back of the slide. This is likely because the weapon wasn't going fully into battery. If you notice, it kind of be at that back position. So to get the seat fully forward, you can tap the back to make sure it's fully in, that it will fire. So I say T-move suppressor, pretty high on the list of theories that actually make sense. Jeremy, what do you think?
I think that's the most probable. The odds that he was registered with an NFA item and murdered somebody with it is basically non-existent.
Yeah, he would be an idiot to do that.
Of crimes committed with NFA.
Absolute idiot if he did that.
Items are so low, and honestly, even if they were more than 0 or at this point 1, to be honest, don't infringe on our rights. The next thing that I think makes a lot of sense would be subsonic rounds. So your typical 9mm is going above the speed of sound. The speed of sound being 1,100 feet per second. Using a subsonic round that's going below 1,100 feet per second, which varies depending on your height and atmospherics and stuff, I think makes sense. Now, here's the thing. I doubt this man would have gone and bought specialty ammo that's easily trackable unless he maybe is not that good of an assassin. But what's actually quite easy to do is if you remove the slug, you pour out some of the grainage, if you're able to weigh that, it's fairly easy to reduce the amount of power coming out of a round, which could also not cycle the weapon if you didn't have enough powder with the subsonic ammunition that he was running. To show you the difference, when you're firing, a suppressor does a really good job of keeping sound down, but when a round breaks a sound barrier, it breaks a sound barrier, and that is very loud. So we have a supersonic round that will be followed by a subsonic round. That was our super, here's our sub. You can see it's a lot quieter. This does make some sense to me that perhaps he had subsonic rounds. Let's go ahead and take a look at what that would have looked like. Now, these are very well-made subsonic rounds from G9. They're gonna function. Let's see what that would have looked like.
All right, I found it. God damn, this shit is shadow banned to hell. All right, here's the video.
I was looking for it.
Chat. This banned book. This banned book right here led to murder for hire, right? Hitman.
What year was it?
I did this 2 years ago. October 11, 2022. God damn. So yeah, guys, this is it right here. I'll drop the link for you guys if you guys want to watch this. It's a really interesting case, guys. So I'll drop the link in there for you ninjas if you want to watch it. Save it in your thing. It's I really enjoyed doing it. This was a good one, man. This was a good one. Because what I do is I actually watch the FBI Files episode and I react to it. Because there was a whole FBI Files episode on this case. And it was really it was good. See, I react to the documentary.
Janice Saunders had been shot twice in the skull.
And that's where the noise was coming from.
And then I give breakdown and all other stuff. So go check it out, guys. Really good episode. One of my favorites that I did. So yeah. Anyway.
Had the key run. Subsonics, that would have functioned. Ready, Jeremy?
Ready.
Of course, that didn't happen. But subsonics make sense. The gun wouldn't have functioned had he done them not well. So this theory, I would say, probably the second best theory that we have.
A single hand-loading press just to put in single rounds is like $20 online, so it really wouldn't be hard to take the slug out, empty a little bit of the powder, and press it right back on there with no tracking.
He learned all that from Call of Duty. Theory number 4, he just didn't have a good suppressor. So pistol suppressors are basically a Rube Goldberg type mechanism. You need a lot of things to go right in order for the pistol to cycle. Pistol suppressors, especially older ones, are fairly notorious for not cycling well. So had he had a pistol suppressor that just didn't run well, the weapon would have been choking up.
Hey guys,
and
I'm
not
dropping off the link for the video on the chat.
I put it in too.
Okay.
You can put it again. That's fine.
See if I
so they can find it. Yeah, they see it. Yeah.
Okay.
In those shots, I would say this.
Also, guys, join CastleClub for free. Link is pinned in on Rumble and on YouTube chats. So check it out.
This is also a pretty dang good theory, and this will put it at the third best theory that we have. So we're gonna take our worst pistol suppressor. We're gonna see if we can get this thing to malfunction. Now, theory 4, also very possible. So older suppressors, really, it's the best way to say it. Older suppressors don't usually run well. I think my old Gemtech can throwing Gemtech under the bus.
And if you guys look at the footage, it's as if he almost knew that. It's almost as if he knew that the gun was gonna jam, because you guys can see he shoots and then he just goes right into it right away. Like normally you shoot, people pull the trigger a few times, then they realize, holy shit, what the hell, it's not working. Then they do the tap and rack. But for him, he shoots and then he shoots, and then it's like as if he knows that the gun is gonna not come into battery properly. So he might have trained with it beforehand. He might have already known this was gonna happen, but the speed at which he racks the gun after every shot tells me that he probably had foreknowledge that the gun wasn't gonna operate properly.
That thing never ran.
I mean, if the guy's gonna travel from fucking Atlanta to New York, come 10 days early, recon, etc., I'm assuming he would have trained with that gun beforehand.
Modern suppressors do. So there's a possibility that he just used a old, not good suppressor that just wasn't running. In which case, it could have been that the gun was simply malfunctioning. Now, right here we have our suppressor, and we're going to go ahead and run.
And it could be because the gun and the suppressor weren't tracked, right? And he didn't have to it was easy to dispose of. Maybe he got it from somewhere where it wouldn't have been able to be tracked. So there's a bunch of reasons why he might have opted to use a less than optimal firearm to commit this crime. Also, guys, like the video, 1.3K, let's hit 1.5.
Run a full magazine through it, and we'll see if it malfunctions. It's a pistol suppressor. There's a high probability, but we'll see. I want free healthcare. You know what? They just make pistol cans so good right now. So, I guess maybe if he knew something about guns, he would have possibly used that, or maybe it made a lot more sense to use a T-Mu suppressor. We'll say this one as the third most likely thing that occurred was that he used a not functioning suppressor. Motherfucker. Oh, shit. What he's doing.
Another one. You know what? This one too, buddy.
Right here we have a ballistic gelatin dummy. We're going to show you the approximate damage that you're going to see from 9mm through the back. These do a pretty good job of simulating the human body, but it's not a real body. That's illegal. So we use this. We start with the supersonic round, then we'll use a subsonic round to show you the difference in damage. Okay, we got the first shot through the back. You can see the entrance right there. And in fact, even with the supersonic round, it did not exit, as you can see right here. It got stuck right in the body, did not go anywhere. This is pretty typical when a round hits the bone for it to not go completely through. Let's go ahead and let's change the trajectory a little bit, get it a little more to the right, see if we can get an exit. Right next, we have subsonic G9. Okay, and now you can see the entrance right there, and then the exit. As you can see, 9mm isn't a terribly energetic round. Still going to do enough to kill you. Exit right there, crush all the bone on the way out. And then, as near as we can tell, there was some type of contact shot, so we'll do a contact shot next.
Yeah, so we're going to do a contact shot next. That's probably that was the final round they did, like a coup de grace on the back of the dude's head. So
it's coup de grace, what we say.
Yeah, so canned 9mm, and yeah, contact shot to the back of the dome.
Fuck you! Jesus, why'd you have to say something? Oh, sorry. No, that's fine. I just didn't. That was violent. Where did it go?
It went through the back of the head.
It went into the back of the head.
It's like 1 and 2.
I don't think it exited.
Well, so like in the video games, right, back in the day, suppressors used to lower the damage, and now they like increase the damage.
Maybe.
But does it, is the real question.
We'll find out.
It's moving slower, it's the same weight, physics-wise.
You ever notice that you can't get John to smile? He's lost the will to live. Gone.
So 150.
These guys love this, man. These gun guys love this shit.
The time of his life.
Yeah, they love this shit, man.
Grain, supersonic ammo, back of the head.
Nice, that looks good on the face. Look at his face.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
well,
God.
it's just a little nosebleed.
So we've talked about a lot of theories
Just a
today.
little nosebleed.
We've gone over an interesting piece of history that has occurred, which was an assassination that occurred of a CEO right here in the United States. Now, whenever one of these historical events occurs, it's important on Garand that we take a look at it from a firearms enthusiast perspective to be able to shed some light over what's most likely to occur. I would say the most likely scenario is what we talked about in theory 2. More than likely, he had a home-built suppressor that did not have a Nielsen device / a booster. Therefore, the weapon wasn't able.
Which home-built, we already talked about this book right here. And I'm sure there's plenty of books out there, but this is one of the most famous ones that talks about how to build a suppressor homemade. Equipment goes into all this stuff, guys. This book.
If it's banned, how did you get it?
I had to spend. This book cost me like $70 to $100 if I remember. I had to get it off like a random site. You can't get this thing anywhere. It's fucking banned.
Wow.
Well, to cycle unless he manually cycled.
And if you do find it, it's more expensive.
That would be our conjecture. Jeremy, do you tend to agree with this?
I completely agree. It seems extremely unlikely that he would have had an NFA item. It's really easy to manufacture on your own with a little bit of crime mixed in. And clearly, it's a lot.
What was that?
Did you read it completely?
I've looked through it. I skimmed through it. There's certain parts in the book that they use as evidence as well. I looked at a lot of.
A crime.
And clearly it's illegal in New York, so he can't have it there.
Right.
Murder's illegal, suppressors are illegal. No, it's stupid. Here's the thing. From what we can tell, it was a home-built suppressor. That would be my conjecture. And on top of that, we really do need to note that NFA items really account for almost less than zero any type of crime that occurs.
So one thing I had highlighted here was, and this is in equipment. You can see there, I highlighted it, and I'll read it for you guys. Well, actually, let me just bring it on main cam. Boom.
Go back. There.
Using a rat tail file, alter the gun barrel, the shell chamber, and the loading ramp, the firing pin, and the ejector pin. Sorry, because I'm reading it from my OBS. That's why it's a little thing. And they go in. They actually show you this shit. How to do it. I'm trying to see if I have anything else here that was like highlighted. I showed you guys earlier the gun that they suggest to use, the silencer, etc.
They're probably going to use this as a push. This is my soapbox. If they try to use this as a push, banning suppressors, that's dumb as fuck. Suppressors are a constitutional right. Firearms are a constitutional right. Don't let them use this to try to take away your rights. Guys, thank you so much for...
Yeah, facts. Seriously, and they always do. Like the video, guys, by the way. 1,700 y'all ninjas in here. Like the video. Let's hit 1,500 likes on YouTube so this thing gets pushed up. Because I'm not only giving you guys... I'm giving you guys the case, the criminal perspective, the investigative perspective. Now we're going into the firearm perspective. All right.
For watching. Historical events will always make it.
All right, since I love y'all niggas, we'll go ahead and do the Colion Noir video as well.
Now, before I say anything else, let me make one thing clear. I do not in any way condone the actions of the shooter in this incident. What happened to the UnitedHealthcare...
Yeah, I knew. Yeah, you got to give that disclaimer. Because everyone on the internet is like jumping up and down for this guy getting killed. And I discussed with you guys before, the top of the show, the insurance business and how it would lead some people to dislike CEOs of said business.
CEO was tragic, and nothing I say in this video is meant to excuse or downplay that. My goal here is to answer a technical question that's been floating around since the footage came out. Why was the shooter's gun malfunctioning the way that it did? That's it. So, let's talk about it. Now, based on the video, it looks like the shooter was using a Glock setup similar to this, as you can see here, with a suppressor attached. Now, if you've seen the footage, you'll notice that after the first shot, the gun fails to cycle properly.
And obviously, guys, the loss of life, you know, always is terrible. You know what I mean? I don't wish death upon anybody. I mean, I think it sucks that this guy had a family, he's got a wife. You know what I mean? It's unfortunate, but this is what happens sometimes, man. When you're involved in certain businesses, you know, people want to hurt you, man. I mean, hell, even me, man. Like, you guys see there's haters on me for my political views. Oh, Byron, we're going to come and find you, blah, blah. Like, there's sick people out there, man, that want to go ahead and affect damage and hurt individuals they dislike. I'm assuming this guy probably had someone maybe close to him get wronged through insurance or something like that. So, you know, violence is never the answer, but for a lot of people, it's their only answer, unfortunately.
Properly, forcing the shooter to manually rack the slide to chamber another round. This pattern repeated throughout the incident. The question is, why? Well, it boils down to one critical error in his setup. He didn't use a booster. For those of you who aren't familiar with a booster is a component that goes inside of the suppressor to counteract the weight it adds to the front of the gun. Without a booster, the suppressor's weight prevents the gun slide from cycling fully, which means it can't eject the spent casing or load a new round. In short, without a booster, the gun essentially becomes a single-shot firearm. And from what I can tell in this video, the shooter's suppressor was directly threaded onto the barrel with no booster installed, which caused the malfunctions you see in the video. Here's what this looks like in action. When I use the suppressor with a booster, the gun works perfectly fine. I can fire multiple rounds and the slide cycles every time without issue. Now watch what happens when I use the same suppressor but remove the booster. The gun fires the first shot, but after that, I have to manually rack the slide to chamber the next round. This is exactly what was happening in the video. If you look closely at the footage, you can see the shooter fire a shot, pull the trigger again, and nothing happens. He then racks the slide, fires another shot, and then repeats the process. It's clear he wasn't expecting this malfunction, which suggests he didn't.
I don't know. I'll have to disagree with him on that one. I do think he was expecting the malfunction. That's why you can see him quickly rack the gun after every shot. It's as if he knew that that setup was gonna fuck up every time.
Didn't test the suppressor before using it. This is a textbook example of how improper gear setup can lead to malfunctions even in high stress situations.
Yeah, facts. I mean, this is why you always got to make sure your gun is clean. It's always good to go. Like, yeah, bro. I mean, you would think with something like this, but I'm assuming since he knew he was going to commit a crime, that's the gear he had. Maybe he had some kind of special setup where it wasn't being tracked, serial numbers were scratched off, whatever, so he had to use that weapon and use that setup. Because I can't think of another reason why he would put himself in a bad position like this to use a gun that clearly isn't 100% on point. But that's what I'm thinking, is he literally had that shit set up in that fashion because there was something where if that gun was ever to be found, it'd be a lot harder for them to trace it back to him. That's what I'm thinking. Or it had some kind of homemade setup on it. Which,
situations.
Yeah, we're at 1.3K likes, ninjas. 1,700 plus y'all ninjas in here. Like the goddamn video. Let's hit 1,800.
Now,
all right, so let's 1,800 live viewers. Let's hit 1,500 likes. By the way, guys, you can follow me on X or Instagram, Myron Gaines X on both. You guys like my political views, where I'm very controversial on there. I'm obviously a lot cleaner here on YouTube. Myron Gaines X on Twitter, aka X, and Myron Gaines X on Instagram, where I post a lot of reels. X, I just tweet. A lot of my geopolitical takes are on there on X. So yeah.
Absolutely clear. Understanding the mechanics of this malfunction doesn't excuse the actions of the shooter. What they did was reprehensible, but my purpose here is to simply provide a technical explanation for those wondering why the firearm didn't function as expected. This situation serves as a reminder though. Check your gear. Check stuff to make sure it works. And this actually correlates to concealed carry too, because a lot of y'all just grab a gun, put ammo in it, rack around in it, and then go out the door. And you might be surprised one day if you have to use that gun that it won't cycle either because it doesn't like that ammo. But that's for another video that I'm gonna do. With that said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Have you ever experienced a similar situation or malfunction with a suppressor? I'm pretty sure most of the gun guys that follow me already knew this, but this is for those people who really don't understand how suppressors work on handguns like that. So, tell me what you think. Leave a comment in the comment section. Oh, and I almost forgot. It's Christmas season, baby. And as a result of that, I'm gonna give you guys a gift. Right now, it's shop.mrcolionnoir.com. Beautiful in this KT protecting your hearing, which I did residents and make sure you did. One thing's for certain and two things are for sure.
Damn, half the video was ads. Okay. Yeah. Let's see here. What else? So, HK says, warning, this video contains graphic content and discusses a recent incident involving a shooting. Viewer discretion is advised. Appreciate that, my friend. Yeah, so I think that covers most of the case, guys, unless you guys have anything else that you guys want me to do. Or you guys want me to play here, as pertaining to this shooting at least. I know you guys are saying Diddy and Jay-Z and all this other shit, but I'm focusing on like this actual thing first. So how about this? I'll tell y'all ninjas this. If we hit 1,600 likes, I'll fire up a night train for you guys and I'll cover the Assad regime topple, and we'll cover this Jay-Z crap. Give me 1,600 likes in the next 2 minutes. Y'all got 2 minutes, because I'll be honest with you guys, I'm tired. I woke up at like 5 in the morning. So if you guys really want this shit, you guys want me to fire up another stream, I'll do it on Fresh and Fit and on X and everywhere else. I'll cover the Assad stuff, and I'll cover the Jay-Z stuff. Give me the 1,600 likes, and I'll do it. And I'll go live at, what time is it right now? It's 11:50. I'll go live at like 12:30. I just gotta eat real quick and shit. I'll pound an energy drink, and then we'll do this thing. So 1,600 likes you guys got. I'm gonna turn the timer on. And what I'll do is, I'll go ahead and give you guys the YouTube video, help you ninjas out.
You don't want to read the chats?
I read them already. Here is the YouTube link. Here's the YouTube link. And I'll drop it on X too. So I'm gonna start the timer now. So here we go. 2 minutes. We hit 1,600 likes on YouTube, and we'll do this thing. Y'all can see the timer right now. All right. So we're at 1.5. If we get 1.7. Because I'll be honest with you, I'm tired. I was going to go to sleep. But for you ninjas, obviously we got some big news with the Assad regime being toppled. And we got some shit going on with the whole Diddy thing. So we'll cover those. So like the video. Also, join the email list. Guys, join the fucking email list. Join the email list. Link is at in the description. Join CastleClub for absolutely free. We're at 1 minute 15. We got 40 seconds to go. I only see 1.5K likes. We need 1.6 ninjas. 1.6. You got 30 seconds to go, chat. $20 seconds to go now. 20 seconds.
Frank.
Oh, we hit 1.6. All right. We hit it. All right. We did hit it. So I guess I owe you guys a second stream. So, yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and end this. Eat real quick, guys. And I'll be back at, it's 11:52 right now. It's 11:52. So I will be back at 12:30. 12:30, 12:40. All right, so I'll make another event here. Just gonna eat some, get an energy drink, and then we'll do a night train for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I'll be back. Love y'all, ninjas. We're gonna cover Assad and the Jay-Z situation.
Oh yeah, follow Fire Reacts on Instagram. Follow Leah and Frank on Instagram, and follow Myron on X, Myron Gaines X, and follow me on X too. So Angelica with 2 A's at the end and number 2.
There you go. Cool. We'll see you guys back here in about 40 minutes. I'll make the event now. Love you guys. Peace. I'm a special agent with Homeland Security Investigations, okay?